Previously.
1, 2, 3.
X-Rated, the X-Men Animated Review Show.
Give him the forecast.
Oh, this is the X-Men Animated Review Show, X-Rated, and the forecast is good. It's very good.
Omega level threat detected.
We are your Omega level threats. Davin Skelmorph.
Good guy or bad guy?
Guy.
A guy of sorts.
and with me as always is my co-host.
Not.
No, there is.
It's a bad way to find out I've been fired.
The Andrecutioner.
Definitely the good guy.
That's true.
You brought it back. You saved it.
Well, you know what they say. The best way to defeat your enemy
Is to make him your friend.
Indeed it is. And speaking of friends, we have a guest with us. Is a very highly sought after guest on this show.
If he's a mutant, how do I tell him he's different?
That's
You
what
mean
I've
highly
been
sought
struggling with
after?
all day.
He's probably our most frequent guest, is he? He's got to be up there. Which I love. I'm super glad whenever you come on, Dave. It's always a blast.
Yeah, but you've been trying to get him to host the show since the beginning, so like.
I didn't say that. Although if we were to invite a third member, I think he would be the best of our options. I think.
That's sweet, guys.
But
He's
needless
somewhere in
to
between
say,
the two of us.
one of
he's
the
not
good
as-
Davids.
That's right. Unlike the rest of those, I've never met a good David besides this one.
This is one of the best. One of
Not
the
one.
best. Right
That
here.
statue, garbage.
David Cutler joins us. Thanks for joining us, Dave.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm very excited.
Me too. I'm really excited. This is a celebration.
About what?
It
Did something important happen in relating to the X-Men universe last week?
Well, yes,
Something.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire hit the theaters.
Yes, right. I haven't seen
That
it
must
yet.
have been it.
I am
that
excited
must
to
have
see it,
been
but
it.
I have not seen it yet. So,
Busted makes you feel good.
so maybe we should postpone
listen
until
to
I
that.
see the Ghostbusters movie, then we'll come back and talk about it. Is that what we're?
No. Just if Busted makes you feel good, don't listen to the reviews.
No,
I had a very good time.
I'm sure I probably will too. I don't know. Was the last one well reviewed?
Better than this one, yeah. It was
Uh.
like 65% of Rotten Tomatoes versus like 40%.
I'll watch and enjoy. I'm sure.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
so
I've
what
got
X-
my theories why the common man turned against Ghostbusting, but save that for
Let's
another
catch
day.
up on old times. What are they up to? What you think they're doing up there?
What do you think they're doing up there?
I
What
still
you
love
think
that
they
one.
doing up there?
What are they up to?
You guys have like this fancy new intro once you've completed the actual series, and now you've got this fancy new intro.
Yeah,
Yep.
our budgets are we got sponsored by Graphic. No, I'm just kidding. One of the other guys on the podcast network made it for us. He did a great job. Super cool. It makes it look like we have a great time. We get along about everything, doesn't it?
Oh, that's not a very good podcast.
We're,
I want conflict. I want conflict.
Oh, you're definitely getting that here.
we're sponsored
Not
by a
today,
hedge
I don't
fund
think. I
run
think
by
we're all on the same
Arcade.
Oh,
I think we're all on the same page.
I hated these two episodes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Can you imagine if I did? If I just utterly went in and like utter horseshit, like just got so mad about it, I would just be kicked off the show.
But what are they doing up there over at Marvel Comics, Dave? What are you doing up there? What's new?
Nothing that I can say.
Oh, come on.
Nothing.
Come
So
on,
big
Dave.
things.
Come on.
That's
come
code
on.
for big things.
It could be code for nothings.
They're finally going to do it. They're finally going to kill off Slapstick. It's going to be a big deal, big event.
They're going to have Dave Cutler kill off Slapstick?
Funeral for a Slapstick will be a huge event. It'll
it's going to be a multiverse thing where every Slapstick dies across every.
Oh my God! Not every Slapstick. What? Darkhawk's like a private detective who has to try to solve the mystery of who killed him. Mm-hmm. I would 100% read that comic.
Yes, this actually sounds pretty dope.
This sounds really good. Marvel, hit us up. I'll write it. Dave will draw it. It'll be amazing.
That's not bad at all.
I'll read it.
Somewhere like the Marvel editors listening to this for some reason, it's just like, yes, sign it up.
Oh well, no, it's a momentous day. Look, the X-Men's back, baby. It's back, and it's back as the X-Men. See this? Look, I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here, but you know what? We have a new segment here called
whatever segment we need when Devin has to rant.
X-Ranted.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here on X-Ranted. Look, the X-Men's back. It was amazing. It was amazing. Nothing gets 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I put too much stock in that kind of stuff, but that's amazing. Like that doesn't
lots
happen.
of things have gotten that, but yes, you're right. It is amazing.
What?
Do they hold it down?
Oh, that's a good point.
Who knows?
But it's only been a week, so.
Yeah, it's only been a
TV
week.
does tend to like I don't know if they're less TV reviewers or something, but you'll see like really high Rotten Tomato scores for TV.
Yeah, probably because they're less like I don't know
judged, maybe.
Yeah, or being like the way that some people like tend to go on, and it becomes like the cool thing to like shit on a show.
Smaller audiences, I suppose, too.
But not for this one. It's been a huge audience.
No, not for this one. Yeah. 4 million already.
Did you see they announced that like because ever since this opened up, the viewership of the original series went up like 560%. Yeah, it's like ridiculous amount.
Yeah, man. Well, this is the perfect appetizer right here at X-Rated. But
right.
Look, the X-Men's back. It's amazing. It's exactly what the X-Men should be. It's basically perfect. Like, I'll spoil my rating right now. It's basically perfection. Yeah. I'm amazed.
It's
like,
pretty
I'm so
fucking,
happy.
It's pretty fucking awesome. They did a great job of like celebrating what came before it, but elevating it with its audience because they know that the audience is mostly us. So they really upped it in a way to appeal to adults. But but really love the source material as well. It's
rated good. for 14 and up.
So, yeah, well that's our age, so we're good.
It's exactly. We're all 17.
Yeah, that's what the driver's license says. 14 and up.
Yeah, that's all you need.
But
it was insane.
And what this does, like in the way, I love that it's getting such a reception because what that does in my mind is that tells Marvel Studios and Disney that not only X-Men is where they should put their focus and is a moneymaker and can please the audiences, but X-Men done, I would say, properly, done like X-Men. Like, you don't have to make X-Men something else. If you just give people friggin' X-Men, that's what people want. So do it. It spells... And I'm not done my rant, but the rant moves on to the MCU. People are like, the MCU is dead, the MCU is dead. The MCU barely starts before the X-Men get there. Like, the X-Men is other than Spider-Man, is off and on, but like I think arguably Marvel's flagship title. You know what I mean? It's their flagship property. It's the X-Men, man. No one cared about the Avengers when we were growing up. I sure didn't. Like, it was the X-Men and Spider-Man.
I beat the Avengers kids up.
So like the MCU's just begun.
I actually never ran into a kid now like the Avengers
with X-Men 97. Hold on to your horses, kids. Here we go. All right, that was X-Ranted. How did you guys feel about it?
So we don't need to talk about anything else. I guess we're done, right? No, I feel like
I think it shows you can't keep a mutant down.
You certainly
that
can't.
Show very quickly undid like 20 years of abuse, of Fox abuse.
Yes,
in the mainstream. So yeah, I was very pleased. I was like skeptical for the first 20 seconds, let's say, and then all in pretty quickly.
Then Cyclops comes in and kicks the friggin' shit out of the Friends of Humanity, and you're like, I am in. I am into this show.
No, I was super happy right from the get-go. Like, the way it looked, the tone of it all, like it was just so fun. Such a good homage to what came before. Like, beautiful designs, cool characters, nice attention to detail, which we get into when we talk about the episode itself, the episodes themselves. But all in all, man, just gorgeous. You can't.
I just find it has such like it kind of has like I feel like the animation
Also-
has kind of like this quick cut feel, but it gives it this like kind of like energy. Like it's almost like it gives you like just a split second of like stop motion, and then bang, it comes in with some crazy energy.
Also interesting, like tribute to the time period, like sliding in things that are references to the '90s specifically, like that "not" quote and other ones as well, which are like very '90s. So
that's like Cyclops. Does that,
Not.
like, what, the first episode, maybe first season. Sometimes Cyclops does the not.
Someone tried that trick on him before.
Yeah,
He was just like, oh no, don't do that.
It's a Sentinel. The Sentinel's like surrender, mutant. I did miss the old Sentinel voice. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Compared to this new one, I like the deep surrender, mutant. That guy.
Well, we
Cyclops
can
like,
talk about
okay,
the voices as we
not. This coat is not black.
go. Yeah,
That's
nah.
Borat. That's Borat.
Net.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's start firing up these episodes. We're here. I didn't even think I said what the show was. We're here. Well, I probably did. This is X-Rated, the X-Men Animated Review Show. We're here to review X-Men 97, Season 1, Episodes 1 and 2, To Me, My X-Men, and Mutant Liberation Begins. And we are your hosts, Evan and Andre, and we're here with Dave Cutler. Let's get into it.
I was wrong. I thought that the Mutant Liberation Begins was going to be an MLF, a Mutant Liberation Front thing.
Me too.
Thought we were going to
Me
see
too.
Strife, but
Me too. Or I
That's-
didn't think we'd see Strife, but I thought we would see some of his goons and that would lead towards him. But
Well, we could be heading that way.
Wildside. I want to
It looks like
I
we
still
might
hold
be-
up to see Wildside.
I still like to see. Well, I guess they kind of already did sort of a visit to the Apocalypse Future, the Age of Apocalypse Future, kind of
They did.
just in the designs and stuff. But
they use some of the costumes.
yeah,
Some were departures, though.
yeah,
Bandana
but still,
Colossus.
yes. Okay, so you ready to get into this? You want to talk about this whole
Yep.
show we
Let's
love
talk
so
about it.
dearly? All right, well,
Perfection.
we open up
Let's
with
talk
a
about
new
perfection.
intro to Marvel Animation specifically, which is actually pretty cool. Did you notice that like the thing they do when they come into Marvel Comics where they show the flipping? This one for animation, they're showing all of the old like they went through old Marvel animations. They showed the original Fantastic Four cartoon, the Jack Kirby Silver Surfer cartoon, the Jack Kirby design style Silver Surfer cartoon from the 90s, which I have a really soft spot for.
Maybe that's why people are rumoring this oncoming universe of 90s animation
the what if
remakes.
stuff from the new stuff they've done and other old the old X-Men one, like a really old. It must have been from when Spider-Man is Amazing Friends. Did Wolverine appear on that show?
He did.
the
I think it was
so
Wolverine. I think it was Wolverine from that. I think
It might be Pride of the X-Men, though.
It could be, but I don't know. He did have a brown costume. Was his costume brown in that Spider-Man episode, the Amazing Friends one?
I don't know.
Probably because it was the same designs as Pride of the X-Men.
Maybe so. But anyway, we get basically almost with a few glaring exceptions, a shot-for-shot remake of the original intro to the show, but all animated in the new style.
They
which is
snuck in
beautiful.
some things though, and somehow didn't
yeah.
throw it off beat. So I was impressed because they had to add a few more things.
Yeah, and they
Especially
matched
that
like
Morph and Sinister.
yes, Morph gets to be part of the intro now. We also see
Bishop.
Bishop as
Bishop.
well.
And Magneto in the second episode. Apparently,
Yes.
it's going to change every episode. I heard.
Oh, really? To add in the new folks as they come and go. I like that we actually get some image of what we'll get to that, of what Bishop's actual powers are in this. They're never really clear before.
He never
So-
used them in the old show.
No, he always uses gun. But we do get the great intro, which is cool. We do see a reference to Morph's past with Mr. Sinister, and I believe rumor has it that Sinister is going to be the main villain of this season. So
with friend of the
Yeah.
show, Chris Britton.
they also fixed up the part where you see everyone run towards each other, and now Thunderbird is not one of the villains, which is nice. But yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. And the music has been updated a little bit, but it's still very reminiscent of the original. Like, it's
This is
super
a
cool.
bit of a
dude.
beat opening. Boom.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Gets you even more hyped. to, like,
I was grinning ear to ear the whole time.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Me too.
I was trying to freeze frame a bit of this because, like, to see who the humans were that were running, like, into frame in between the X-Men when they're running at the villains, at that end part.
Warpath, not Thunderbird, Andre.
Oh, I'm sorry. Come on, they're brothers. It's pretty close.
MZ says it didn't feel real until he saw the intro. Still blown away and can't believe it's finally back. Truly awesome. Well said, MZ.
I must say. So
That rhymed. I'm like a poet, like Beast.
all right. So
you didn't tell us who you were quoting afterwards, so not quite like Beast.
Oh,
Tennyson.
Walt
Tennyson. It's always Tennyson. I only quote Tennyson.
Tennis.
And the music. I'm curious if I'm sure we'll get a fancy fresh vinyl of the soundtrack to the first season out when it comes out. But the Newton Brothers
I
score.
believe it's out already. Maybe
Is it? Oh shit!
Oh, wow.
I'm on board.
The end credits say soundtrack available on Hollywood Records. So.
Oh really? Sweet.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
definitely
you
gonna
get
grab this because the soundtrack is amazing. Actually, the Newton Brothers who have scored.
Oh
other
yeah.
things.
Oh yeah. Not to skip
yeah.
ahead, but from the final sequence of the second episode, the rising music there.
Yeah.
Ah.
The score's fantastic.
Perfection. This whole thing is perfection. It was. I've watched it five times.
Okay, I'm about to skip ahead again, so I'll just shut up till we get there.
No, go ahead again if you want.
No, whatever.
No.
proud
We're
of
gonna
you.
get there. We're gonna get there.
All right.
All right, so we see City. We're going to go more in depth than we normally blase over these things because obviously such a big thing right now. So we see, get the town. We get some very 90s-esque signs for some of the businesses. We see Rising Spire Records, bail bonds of the things that are kind of 90s-ish on the walls and signs. We do see the kind of spotlights going out the streets. We see, we briefly see Leech and Callisto in an alley kind of duck away as the spotlight comes around. They're hiding.
Leech was trying to steal something.
Our
The store.
hearts.
We see a news
He
report.
succeeded.
We see a news report in which they're talking about the death of Charles Xavier, who was killed by Henry Geigerich in the end of the series. Is what the news
You
is
guys
reporting.
saw the end of the show more recently than I did. I haven't heard anybody talking about this online.
No, he didn't die. He was taken away by the one.
Yeah, he's not.
Is it
That's
a
what
complete retcon, or are they not playing fair? And really, that is what happened. That
No, they
Professor
act
X
like
in
he's.
space.
They
'Cause they
act
can
like
kill.
he's dead in that episode.
Yes.
Sort of.
They very
Like
much
they're-
act like
like-
he's been dead. They don't even reference that he's been taken away to another star system.
But did Guy?
No, but like in Graduation Day, like that's image you always see of them all kind of like looking off.
Did Gyrich shoot Professor X in that episode?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, no. He
Okay.
he didn't shoot him like with a gun, but he used a device.
No, they don't do that.
that
Oh,
was
an
supposed to-
energy weapon of some sort.
Well, no, it was supposed to show that he was a mutant, so like it attacked him and his powers went crazy, which is what was killing him. Because it's like his brain or whatever was like his
I
powers.
always
went
think
overdrive.
Bishop is very lucky that his enemies don't use bullets.
He's hanging out with Alandra on the Shi'ar Empire. They just made it out as if like he will always need that technology, so can never come home. Like that's how they.
But now it seems like they've retconned it, and he is dead.
Yes, that
Because-
it very much does seem that in the show.
Okay. Here's the only thing I'll say about that.
Devin,
Cyclops'
you
dad's
like maybe
a space pirate and could take him to the Shi'ar Empire at any moment. So
Yes.
they can go visit. Sure.
yeah. So I
don't
mean,
see why
Professor
not.
X has got to be dead, or nothing
No.
else matters.
No. Like
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
no.
he can come back
You can,
some other way,
you
but
can speculate as much as you
they have a
want.
voice actor for him. Exactly. Lucas is
You
right.
yeah, but that's because Morph is a morbid person with no sense of boundaries who's just
Yeah,
gonna,
we've
like,
already heard that voice actor come.
Well, listen,
through
you
walk
can both-
around
a
as
few
somebody's
seconds.
dead dad. Or
That
is
was
he gonna-
funny. Don't be a creep, Morph.
You can both speculate as much as you want, but there's nothing in these episodes that indicate that anyone thinks anything other than the fact that he's dead.
Yeah, they think he is dead. As far
Like,
as they know.
I'm not saying that the X-Men don't know better, because I don't think the X-Men directly say he is dead. But the way the world
They
treats
say
it,
Henry Gyrich, Cyclops says Henry Gyrich killed Professor X when
Right.
he killed
Or
him.
does he say is that what he says? Killed?
well, I can't
Okay,
remember
maybe.
exactly.
See, all I'm thinking is maybe they're just playing it off to the world like he's dead because they can't tell anyone about the
Well,
Shi'ar
also,
Empire
they-
or anything like that.
They don't
So
know
he's
for sure
gone.
that Shi'ar. They don't know for sure that Shi'ar saved him, because they said they're going to take him back, and they can't.
True.
They could save him. So maybe they assume he died, which seems pessimistic, but who knows?
I don't know. Hope for the best, I say. I think it's
So
an
I
episode.
I think they one of them at least, probably Cyclops or Jean, knows he's alive, and they're just
You think he's not going? She's not going to tell the others. She's going to keep it to herself.
Oh, telepaths, man. Telepaths keep secrets all the time.
Gavin, come on, you don't know.
What?
There's nothing in these episodes that indicate you could know this. There's nothing.
We'll see, won't we?
You
We
can
shall see.
I'm sure he's going to come back to life for sure, but I mean,
Yeah,
as far as, like,
exactly, Ryan. They told the humans he's dead, just make it easier to explain. They're not going to say nothing about the Shi'ar.
I'm not talking about that, but amongst themselves, you think they bring it up?
Yeah, well, We'll see those conversations yet, I think.
Maybe so, but I'm just saying.
Feels like a partial retcon, MZ says. Maybe.
We're addressing these episodes as they come, and for these 2 episodes, there is nothing to indicate that he is not dead.
Good point, MZ. I think we can all agree at least his mind is alive. It's like he can shoot it into some other body or something, or he's on the astral plane. Like Xavier's mind is out there, you know.
Okay, so this is a speculation show now. What if he's been misplaced by a crab monster from beyond the moon? I mean, maybe that could happen. I mean, that's very possible. What do you think about this crab moon theory?
Lucas is right. He's just considered dead in the legal sense, which, just like being legally blind, doesn't mean you're completely blind. So he's not completely dead necessarily, just legally.
Do you think the X-Men would not bring something up if they're like, okay, Magneto is getting all of Charles' stuff, but he's not, but as far as we know, he's not dead?
Yeah, they'd be like,
you think they would have been like, he's still alive in the shared galaxy, like you're not going to take over the school.
This whole give everything to Magneto thing is questionable anyway, because who puts their will into a 500-page novel? Like the whole thing is questionable.
That's true. The whole thing is huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of caveats. Magneto had to spend the night in the haunted house. We didn't see all that. It's a big
on night 4.
Magneto spent the night in a haunted mansion. So anyway, we get to the friends. We see a young mutant in a restraint collar, being that doesn't make MZ stop. We don't know. You can speculate all you want. We don't know. We don't know. So anyway,
this is the speculation hour. Let's go.
We're not going to be able to talk about the show. We're just going to speculate about it for 3 hours. Like then, I'm not saying
he's still in the opening credits.
He's definitely coming back. I'm just saying, as far as the X-Men are concerned, in this,
episode, he always comes back.
He's definitely going to come back. I'm not saying he's not.
As far as these characters know, as I've watched them, motherfucker's dead. He is dead.
Agreed.
They're way too sad for him to be having alien sex and play the scenario.
But they were in Graduation Day too. They were all acting like they weren't too confident in Shi'ar.
Well, they like I said, they also said that he might not survive. So maybe.
But yeah, it's they're watching. It's an 11th hour thing that Lilandra shows up and is like, actually, I've got the keep alive machine.
He's in Muir Island, like the end of X3.
Yeah, he's gonna inhabit the brainless body of his comatose twin. They easily have ways to communicate with him. Like she
stop fighting with MZ, Andre.
Well, he's just floundering like you to find some reason to make it all make sense. It's gonna make sense when they get to it, but we have no idea of knowing until we get to it. Like
I'm fine if it's just a retcon. Like some other little things have been retconned. It's fine. It's fine.
Like the shared galaxy has contacted them on Earth before. They had a shared ship that they got from the Morlocks head that they would talk to the Shi'ar through. Like they had ways of talking to them. Also, like Jean could reach out to him across from space when she was the Phoenix and other things. So anyway. So we see this kid with a restraint collar being taken into a Friend of Humanity bunker. We get all the Friends of Humanity are still wearing their awesome matching berets, but they're working on futuristic-y technology that they didn't seem to have before.
Of course, berets. So funny.
Yeah, the little green berets, they're all kind of matching.
You gotta have berets. That's how you know they're militant.
Yes, of course. That's exactly that. That's how you know they're militant is they're wearing berets. It's 100% true. Yeah. So the kid,
100%. I'm reading the closed caption. Cyclops describes Henry Gyrich, the man who killed Charles Xavier.
Who's he saying that to?
Jean.
Okay, that's convincing. We'll see. I mean, someone's going to be surprised when Xavier comes back, but will everyone be surprised?
Not if he's
surprised.
Not if he's
not going to be surprised.
Look, none of us are saying he's not coming back, Kevin. We're all saying he's going to be back on the show. That's all. We're all saying this. We're just saying we don't know how or why.
I've never seen someone who wasn't Cyclops want Professor X to be alive so badly.
Well, it's also
Marquand's a good voice actor. I want to see it happen.
Oh yeah, no, he'll be great. I'm sure.
Got big shoes to fill. Great Cedric Smith. Let's do it.
Yeah, and actually, Miller's making a good point. In Graduation Day, they needed Magneto to help boost Jean so she could reach out to the Laundra to come save him.
That's still a phone call. It's a long distance call, but
That's
he's still
true.
reachable. He's still reachable.
So we see the head of the Friends of Humanity, seemingly this Carl character, who one of my favorite attentions to detail is that he has like 3 Wolverine claw marks across his face, which is like indicating he's been fucked up by the X-Men before. Which
I don't
nice.
think that's what that is. It's more than 3 claws. I'm looking
at a picture of it right now. Is 3?
Is it 3?
Yes.
In every shot. Okay.
Yes.
See, I'm thinking it's going to lead to Sabretooth or something.
So you Sabretooth's other kid?
No, but I think just like Sabretooth, it slashes people in the face all the time. Like it's
Wolverine does too.
Yeah, they're a little wibbly wobbly. Like
it's more of a Sabretooth thing.
I guess you can angle the things, maybe, but
I don't know. I got Sabretooth
people.
I think it's supposed to. I suppose
He
to
does.
match. I thought it's supposed to
He's
match
classic.
the angles of the face, right? They contour with the face.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'll
Maybe
believe
so.
that it's Wolverine until I'm told otherwise.
That's just my headcanon thought that like, well, the Friends of Humanity have been fucked up by the X-Men enough times that this is just one of the guys that got fucked up in one of those altercations.
I mean, it would sort of make sense that he was going after the X-Men if Wolverine clawed him, but I just feel like he would mention that because he's fighting the X-Men. He'd be like, "Where's Wolverine?" Or like,
well, he doesn't know the names.
Yeah, and he also
Where's the yellow one?
So many nameless people get fucked up by them all the time.
Yeah.
So he basically they got this mutant. They restrained him. He's rich. He says he'll give them money if they let him go. His family's rich. They want to test this new technology they're working on him. And while doing so, all of a sudden the air gets colder, so you can start seeing his breath. And
Roaches, you see one more.
he tells everyone to get ready because they're the X-Men are coming, and he can sense that the weather has changed. And we get a great intro from Storm, which I'm sure you have the audio for.
But it's
don't. How do you not have the audio?
I have
for
some
that?
Storm
you're
audio,
all
but
Storm.
not that
You're
one.
all about Storm. Storm's like your thing.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. She's like, "I am Storm, goddess of the mistress of the elements," and she comes in.
It's funny because part of this future technology they have is these little arm cannons that go over their hands, and they all look like Mega Man to me. Did you think of this, Dave?
Yeah,
they're all like little Mega Men because they all have like little Mega Blasters on their arms.
One of those
Little
little details
Sentinel
I didn't love. They could have did a better design of those blasters. It's really cartoony, but whatever.
So Storm comes in.
But
Storm
this
comes
is
in.
what I want to. I think this is my theory on why they released these 2 episodes, because it really is one story. It starts with Carl Denty, the Executioner, getting zapped by lightning by Storm, and it ends in episode 2 with him shooting Storm and taking her powers away.
Spoilers.
I mean, there's a couple of scenes after that, but it's basically the Storm versus Carl Denty kind of story.
For sure.
Voiced by a friend of the show, Lawrence Bain.
He does a great
voice. Great job, by the way. And it's it's such a cool character because
he's very
sinister. Things he says.
Who was
just
he on the old
echo.
show?
He was Cable.
Cable, Eric
right.
the Red, Captain America.
Mostly Cable though. So then we see
Eric the Red showed up like 3 times at least. He kept showing up. But, yeah.
Then we see Bishop join the fight as well, who it's never explained that he's just here now and part of the team, which is fine.
We'll get there.
We see Beast tinkering with his time bracelet, which makes me think that it broke at some point because there's a whole bunch of things we didn't see.
There's like 9
uprising that we missed. Like X-Men 92 ends. Professor X is dead, or and Magneto tries to lead a mutant uprising after that.
Mm-hmm.
The X-Men stomp him down, and that's where we are. So I think somewhere during that, Bishop came back. He got stuck.
What does that mention about the uprising? I thought that was just referencing the previous when he tried to do like
a
Asteroid
news
M. and all
reporter
that
says
stuff.
that Magneto, had an uprising.
That was going to be one of my X points.
Okay.
At some point between these 2 shows, Magneto attempted a friggin' uprising.
And Marvel is doing an X-Men 97 comic, which I know nothing about. An issue might even be out. I don't know, which is supposed to bridge the gap. And I would guess that's what we're going to see, that attempted uprising.
Oh, cool. I assume there were.
Dang, now I want to see it. I wasn't necessarily going to buy those issues, but now I am.
I thought I just assumed it was about all the other Magneto stuff. I must have missed a note that said it was after Xavier had died. So issue 1's out tomorrow.
Bro, they throw information at you in this show.
Yeah, they really do.
It's just like dump in a good way. Like this, like keep up.
Well, it's like the old show they were in. Eric Lewald and Julia told us they had to cram the dialogue in there just to keep it fast paced and like to make it different.
Can't be on your phone during these suckers.
Nope.
Although I am annoyed that every time Bishop shows up, we do not have a sweet harmonica solo. I think it wouldn't be great if
I would be shocked if they don't hit it at some point because he's going to get an episode. He's like the character who did not get to shine to me in these two.
He was like the bookend of every season. They're just like, all right, at the end of the season, let's get Bishop back in there.
So, something's going to happen big with him, and we're going to get a harmonica.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound like Ice-T anymore, which is but he's good. He's really.
He never did.
He sounded like Ice-T, man. He sounded so much like Ice-T, especially like when Rick and Morty has Ice-T on the show. It sounds so much like, why is my cat biting me? Stop it. Anyway, he's sleeping under my desk, and if my foot gets too close to him, he bites it. Yes, So they start shooting. Bishop joins the fight. They start shooting at them. Bishop starts absorbing the energy and shooting it back at them using his abilities, which is cool to finally see them being used. When they're all shooting back at them, they hit a computer panel beside them, which blows up and knocks Storm and Bishop out. Carl warns everyone that they're like roaches, as you played earlier. If you see one more coming, I'm just going to refer to him as Sunspot. I can't refer to him as Sunspot because I can't remember his actual name.
Roberto da Costa.
Roberto.
So I call him Bobby, which keeps confusing me because the Iceman is Bobby.
Of the da Costa fortune.
Yes.
So Roberto breaks off and tries to run, but then the wall blows up, and then we get a really sweet intro of Cyclops with all these. And then he asks,
good guy or bad guy?
Cyclops. It's funny you hit the same note right when I was watching it. And the Cyclops voice is fantastic. He sounds very similar to Norm Spencer.
He sounds similar, and yet he's my favorite Cyclops actor of all time. Like I like him better. I like him better than any Cyclops in any animated series. Definitely any movie.
Agreed.
This one or Norm Spencer?
This one. This is my
very
Cyclops.
Good.
This is my Cyclops.
It's very good.
The way he's depicted, this is my Cyclops.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he looks like he's having some fun doing this too. Not fun, but like he's a little lighthearted than he was before.
I mean, I love X-Men 92, but I think like most people you meet who think that Cyclops sucks, you can trace it back to the 92 X-Men show. And then being a kid and Cyclops seeing like this like stuffy authority figure. Thankfully, now I'm an old man. Cyclops seems completely rational, and Wolverine seems like a 140-year-old 12-year-old.
Agreed.
A real wiener, that Wolverine.
Oh man, many memes have spawned out of this show, but my favorite one is like the one where people are just like, "Oh, Cyclops is badass now" or whatever, and just like the other part is just like, "He always was."
He always
was. He's just like this. It's like, yeah.
I love Carl like during when Cyclops using his beams to fuck everyone up. Carl runs off and takes the thing off their secret weapon where they're getting all this technology from, and it's a Sentinel arm. I agree, it is the greatest Cyclops ever. Spencer was great, but the way this one's depicted with his voice is perfect.
Shows the MCU.
The voice owes a lot to Spencer. It owes a lot.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
he adds something extra. I don't know what it is.
Cool. He adds a touch.
Yeah,
of
he
cool
adds
to
cool.
It.
He adds a touch of cool.
Yeah, I agree. So,
which is fine because Cyclops is cool.
Yeah.
So Carl activates the Sentinel arm, which shoots like a sort of a grappling thing that goes around Cyclops and stops him from being able to run. And then he takes off his visor, believing that the visor is what causes him to be able to make the beams happen.
You would though, because it's big and clunky.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that was my assumption as a kid. Back when I thought Wolverine was called X-Man, I thought that Cyclops
was called X-Man.
Was what made the beam.
So when he's like, take off his thing so he can't shoot those, and then he's like, no, I surrender, and he goes, not, and then
not.
And then we see his powers sort of just explode out of the building. You'll notice
that visors are my powers, nut.
Side note: the building is called Hip Skate Party. Is what's on
yes. Every time it comes up, when they do the wide shot, I always go Hip Skate Party.
And then
I've seen the show like 5 times now. So
and at one
I've
point
seen it many times.
when they knock someone through a bunch of boxes where they're fighting, all these roller skates fall out of the boxes. Like they really go into 90s. Like they're really paying homage to the 90s here, which is fun.
Even though it's a little more, I guess it's run down because it is a little more 80s. Because 90s were rollerblades.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
You,
true.
you would not want to
in the
be on
90s.
roller
No,
skates. in the 90s.
they were rollerblades that fell out of the boxes.
okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, 100%.
Did you guys have rollerblades in the 90s?
I did.
What
I
color
like
were the
rollerblades.
wheels on your rollerblades, David Cutler?
They were orange, and the buckles were purple, and the
the
rollerblades were
oranges.
black.
I lived on a dirt road, so I did not have rollerblades.
I had the neon green wheels myself.
And the back brake was gray. I remember them well.
Oh man, you guys got some cool stuff. So then we see
Do you have
that
a skip it?
You
Remember
have to skip it.
Skip
I had a
it?
blue skipper, and the very best thing of all was there was a counter on that ball.
Oh shit, cool.
Yeah.
I had a hacky sack and some devil sticks.
Oh yeah, I had some devil sticks.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
watch?
man.
Are you Tim and Eric guys?
Oh yeah, 100%.
The flashback episode where it shows the origin of Tim and Eric, and he meets Tim in the park, and he's playing with devil sticks.
Oh, yeah.
They're called devil sticks. Anybody could use them.
I quote the Cinco FaceTime party snoozer constantly.
Oh yes, we've talked about this. Yes.
I understand. Yes, thanks for coming. Yes, thanks for coming. I understand. So then we see the after that big explosion, we see a paper fly by the screen, which is the one from the trailer, which shows the Mutant fashion show with like Stacey X and all those folks on it.
Hellfire
Also
Gala.
an ad for the Hellfire and is Spider-Man a Mutant on page 10.
Yeah, I just was told that today. I missed that one.
Yeah,
They don't
it's
put
a-
the dash in.
He's
which
not,
means
he's a
that
mutate.
Jameson's not working at the Bugle right now because that man will put a dash in Spider-Man.
That's true. He certainly will, and it is the Daily Bugle. So
And he won't ask a question. He will say, Spider-Man is a mutant.
Yeah.
also, I'm sure we've seen this before, but they use a lot of X transitions. As someone who does video editing a little bit,
I don't think so. They do
I
the
don't think-
side wipes a lot in the old show.
Yeah, they do
But I don't
the
remember
X
X
transitions,
transitions.
which is fun because I do a lot of editing now with some of my current work, and I do like the X transition, but I have very few reasons to use it. So it's cool to see it used in this. So we see Cyclops berating Gambit, who is deep frying some food in a crop top, about how he wasn't there to help during the fight, and
Not worried at all about the oil spinning, that Gambit. He's made of sterner stuff than me.
That's one of my favorite lines in this episode, though. Is that these beignets needed me more than you, Cyclops.
You're doing good Gambit, man. That wasn't bad at all.
Thanks.
My
And
pants are coming off. That was pretty neat.
I do feel, and then Cyclops is like, well, they're retrofitting, old Sentinel technology, blah blah blah, and then Rogue shows up. I think like someone really took that memo that they like Rogue's cat-based puns because she has like 3 cat-specific base puns in the first episode, or 2 at least.
She does, yeah.
She has 3 right in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like, okay,
I
but
think
they're
they are
good.
doing that like,
It's a bit
they are
too
good.
much. It's a little bit too much.
and
Like-
it ends with cat steak in the bag. So, but no, she's like, it's like they're trying to like play with it a bit.
But like 3 times in the first episode is a bit much.
Well, if they do it again,
But
if they
it's
keep
meant
it
to
that
be a-
going,
it's meant to
then-
be like a runner, or like she makes a cat
yeah.
colloquialism.
But why is it always a
She makes
cat?
Another one.
She made lots of colloquialisms. So they weren't always about cats.
Well, it's a reference to the old show, that famous one that everybody knows who loves the show. I mean,
Long-tailed
Joe Blow
cat
doesn't
in a
know.
room full of rocking chairs.
Yeah, and so she makes the first one. The second one is to like remind you of it, to call back, and the third one is like, no, that cat's got to
That's
stay
the
in the
joke.
bag. So that's the clencher to the joke.
Yeah,
They're
that's
all in the
funny.
same scene. The cat references, so it's supposed to be it is a little clumsy. I'm not going to pretend it's not, but it did work for me at the same time.
Me too. And I
Cyclops
like
is
hearing
still wearing a
Lenore
little.
use cat references.
Also,
Like-
I was worried for a second in that beignet scene because I was like, oh man, they're gonna make Scott a stuffed shirt again. We're heading back to the same. And then I was like, at the same time, Gambit was supposed to help save a little boy from racist terrorists, and instead he decided it was more important that he cooked 12 beignets.
Like
Okay.
way more than 12 beignets. Like there were 12 per plate, and he made like
Oh, true,
6
true,
plates of beignets.
True,
Like
but
that
still,
that
yeah.
would take all morning. He definitely couldn't
I'd be pretty frustrated if I were dealing with these like adult children too. If I were Cyclops.
Oh yeah, can you imagine?
It's gonna be a running theme, I think, that no one wants to be X-Men anymore now that Xavier's gone, except for Cyclops. Like no one wants to.
Cyclops doesn't even want to really by the end of the second episode. So
he wants to. He's just torn. Man.
Yeah, I get it. But anyway, so when Cyclops is getting frustrated with all this blasé attitude, Rogue tells him that like he's gonna have a heart attack basically if he keeps stressing out as much as he does. But then of course Professor X enters the room walking. And he says, "Scott's what I trusted. All of my students would gladly die for my dream." And
I love how creepy Morph is in this, man. He doesn't hold back with the shapeshift.
It's also very funny because you can detect there's a hint of resentment for him that Professor X is the guy who sent him off to die. Like he doesn't mourn Charles quite the way the rest of them do.
No, I don't think so.
That's good stuff.
I like that he still has the Morph laugh too.
He can't lose that.
So Cyclops tells him not to be creepy, and he morphs back into his native form, I guess, which is the white-faced form that we get now.
Ron Rubin's in this episode, though, just in a different character.
No, that's fine.
I massively prefer this Whitehead to the
me too.
Old, weird-looking.
We do revisit that version of him later, but for now,
he's
cool.
handsomer.
It's good to
he's
see
handsomer.
that
It is.
They really made him creepy before. He's kind of like skinny and like he's kind of like Crispin Glover, like in a like really creepy.
Oh yeah, or like
hair.
just like a mustachio-less mastermind.
Oh yeah, kind of yeah.
With those
a little less
features.
greasy.
I don't know. He gets pretty greasy in that cave with.
So we also see.
I think I have a picture of that.
Yeah, now he's handsome. Now I want a morph action figure. He's like the X-Man I don't have.
Now he's handsome enough that I'll take that head as well as the white head.
Now
two interchangeable heads.
I love to. So then Gambit throws he charges up a beignet and throws it at Cyclops, and then
I thought he charged a card and threw it at him.
No, it's a beignet.
It's a beignet. Yeah.
Oh, was it a beignet?
Because
he could have killed him, but it's kind of crazy.
Especially when it explodes and like boiling hot oil goes everywhere.
It cuts to them having another funeral for Cyclops who died in an unfortunate beignet accident.
Scott wasn't even a duck; he was ready to zack it right there, and
right in his face too. Yeah.
But Jean used her powers to take it out of the room. We see now that she's pregnant.
Cyclops just like, I don't know who's worse, him or Wolverine, because he almost tried to kill him.
That's a repeated line too, in the first season.
And then when she's like, "You could have really hurt someone," Gambit he just salutes with the tongs and turns back to working on his beignets.
Psychotic.
The internet seems to be thirsting over old Gambit in that belly top. I've seen.
I think I've used the word beignet more in this conversation than I ever have in my entire life.
Yes, same. I've never had them, so I've never had cause to.
Look, former guest of the show, Hanif went and got some beignets at a local brunch spot after seeing this episode.
Oh, so they were really dedicated.
Yeah. So that's how you beat the Gambit thirst. Satisfy it with some beignets.
So they mentioned that the kids with them until they get them helped up and figure out what's going on with him. We then see him wake up in a lab, hearing someone humming. He looks around and sees technology, also a bookshelf. Have you guys noticed some of the things in the bookshelf?
I didn't really catch it.
I noticed
There's a book by Jay Leewald, which is a nice thought. Yeah,
I can think of the name.
Cool. There's one book that just says DNA. One book that just says science.
DNA. Science. Those are Beast's books, obviously.
And then Animal Farm by George Orwell is on there as well.
Of course.
Which is nice.
What's it called? That's what
What he was reading in prison.
Yeah, what
his quotes
prison guard makes some joke about him being an animal and not being able to read. You're supposed to be looking at the pictures. Yeah. Right. I didn't notice that one.
No, I don't think he was working. I don't think Beast was working on a time collar or time thing. Maybe he was, but I thought it was the collar.
No, he's got a bracelet, and Jubilee says, "Oh, that's Bishop. See, he's a time traveler."
Oh, it's one of my favorite lines in the episode. He's just like, "How's the boy?" He's just like, "Well, other than a layman's fear of metaphysics, he's fine."
That's nice.
Yeah.
So he's kind of shocked by Beast's appearance. Beast introduced himself as Hank McCoy. Or if you prefer his friendly nom de guerre, Beast, as he refers to.
Friendly nom de
A lot
guerre.
of callback lines in this first episode.
So
Yeah,
good.
when you were mentioning, when you were like, Disney's finally figured out the value of X-Men, it's like, no, Disney's figured out what they've known for quite some time, the value of nostalgia. And that's why we have all these Star Wars shows.
Nostalgia doesn't always sell like this.
No, and that's what, to me, it's just
The first time it does. I'm not saying this isn't fantastic. It 100% is. But if it goes on, it'll probably go the way of The Mandalorian and other things, when they're like, well, this isn't as good as it used to be, because we all loved it so much when it first came out. But
I'm going to keep the hype train going.
Show, you have to be a nut for the old show to catch all these lines.
100%
stuff. Like your average person isn't. Even if you grew up with the show, is
but all the nuts for this show are here. They're watching this podcast.
Yeah.
Now.
I'm just saying that 4 million people weren't going like, nom de guerre. Said it before.
Nom de guerre. But Davin, even this past weekend, I was at the Atlantic Entertainment Expo.
Say it right.
In PEI. And Troy and Brenda Little are good friends of mine. They had a table set up just around the corner from where I was. I was walking by their table going back to mine from the bathroom. And there's a fat guy in a wife beater shirt with fake Wolverine claws complaining about the new show to them. Like really complaining about how the voices weren't right. And I don't know.
He's wrong.
Oh, I agree. But I'm just saying there are people out there that do love the original show that are going to.
You point me to this so-called Wolverine.
Well, I didn't want to talk to him.
Have a conversation.
I was going to say something to Troy and Brenda, but I didn't want to get into a conversation with this guy, so I just kept walking to my table. I don't agree with him, but I certainly didn't want to get.
We're taking a trip to the Highlands today, fellas.
Hey, what are we drinking?
We're drinking the Ardmore.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. Really good one.
It's my birthday.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Because happy belated. You got
thank you. Well, it was. Look,
are you going to get hammered like you did last time on your birthday?
We'll see.
That's not that much. If you get hammered on that, that's sad.
No, but I still have more. I have a Jameson's. I have a cheap whiskey as well.
If I'd known this was a drinking night, I would have grabbed my bottle too.
Well, you can always run and get it. We got a long night ahead of us.
I want people to see my pajama pants.
I'm wearing they can see my pajama pants. You guys want to see my pajama pants? Mine are Marvel. I got the Hulk on there.
Oh, so are mine.
I got. We're all wearing pajama pants. We're men of class.
Leisure.
Mine are. I got really into sax stuff, so they're like sax ones, but they got
like
little
sax on the
hockey,
beach,
like the ballpark pouch.
Mine has a single mutant on them.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. Do I have any? I have a nice Spider-Man tattoo. Does that count? So anyway, we as he's kind of being shocked by Beast, basically.
I have a Spider-Man tattoo, but it's a rub-on.
Mine's the first one I ever got, actually. So
a rub-on?
Yeah, that's right. Right, I commemorated it by going to get a Spider-Man tattoo. So anyway, Jubilee shows up. So Beast sort of and her have some stuff. She talks about the doohickey he's working on. Oh yeah, right. This is the point. So I did watch this a week ago, and I'd hope to watch it again today, but I didn't have a chance yet. But Beast does mention this doohickey I'm working on is an elegant thing helping people travel through time and space. Jubilee says, Beast's time traveler, lets him in. We see Storm and Cyclops come in, which has that line. He said, besides the cavalier attitude and you fear about metaphysics, he's fine.
Yeah. Layman's fear of metaphysics. He's fine.
Basically, he wants to leave. And his voice is really good at this. I like his voice.
Who's that?
DaCosta.
Yeah, he sounds like, I guess maybe it's because he's very rich, but he just sounds very bored with everything.
Well, basically, they want him to. It sounds like they're kind of trying to indoctor him into the X-Men a little bit here, or at least get some,
Jubilee is.
Yeah, 100%. She obviously is infatuated with him. They also Asianed her up a bit. Like, she looks a lot more Asian than she did in the previous cartoon, which is cool. Like, they're really, doing a good job of kind of showing the diversity of the characters aside from just the voice actors too, which is nice.
And she's less annoying.
Oh, 100% less annoying. I wonder how many
Jubilee was never annoying. How dare both of you?
She's annoying after the first season. I really like her in season 1, and then afterwards, I don't know.
How much that machine costs? Yeah, $25. It's great.
episode 1. Yeah, I know. It's great.
I know.
There's a mole baby, chili fries. She's great in episode 1. She's one of my favorite characters in comics. I just her she's like that little go-getter kid after that, and it just gets annoying. I don't know. She's like Burt Ward Robin.
Yeah.
Dude, how dare you?
She also
Jiminy Chilliker's Wolverine.
She also must be at least 21 now, right? She goes into a bar.
It's a rave. It's like a legal underground thing.
Okay.
They definitely say that Sunspot's 15.
Okay. Because Wolverine's drinking there, so I assumed it was a bar.
Yeah.
She was 15.
They're just lax.
She was 15 in the beginning of the animated series. So she'd be like a couple years older at least.
I think that all happened in the same year.
Yeah, I think
you tell me the way they're dressing. It's not 97. It's 92.
Yeah. I think it's like The Simpsons. Like they're just that age forever. So we see him. We cut to him facing Magneto, which becomes pretty apparent. It's in the Danger Room, which Jubilee is watching him. She's trying to
very
find out
cool though, because that's such weird things to say. Very cool because you can see bodies like strewn about everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is something you never got to see in the old show, like the devastation.
Oh, right. Good point, MZ. In the long shot episode, she gets her driver's license.
Right.
So she did age.
So Bobby's younger than her.
Yep, but he's rich.
Yeah, that adds 2 or 3 years. You're right.
100%. It makes it okay. So she asks him what his powers are, trying to see him use them in the Danger Room. She also mentions it'd be weird if gold. She's going through the different things his powers could be, and says, "What if we do weird gold balls come out of your body? That'd be strange." She says, which is the nice.
That was a hilarious reference. I like
that. We see Wolverine attack him from behind, and he thinks it's all part of it because he's not taking it very seriously until Wolverine ends the program. He realizes it actually is Wolverine.
And Wolverine's just being a psycho.
Yeah,
like, just does that though. Like,
scaring
the Danger Room.
What's your problem with this child, Wolverine? Is he horny than your girl too?
You then we cut to Cyclops looking at a portrait of the original team, which I guess has been retconned, but it was retconned in the previous series too.
Yeah,
Angel was one of the original team because they would do flashbacks to the original team and you see Angel flying around, unless it's a different Angel. But they did not know who Warren Worthington III was when they encountered him the first time.
No. It's one of those things like they didn't know they were going to get.
Rogue. That
the other X-Men don't know him either, though. They just didn't know they were going to get 5 more years to be able to explore all this stuff. It's like, retcons are fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
They are what they are.
It's fun to have an original team that they can come back to.
We see Cyclops and Jean talking to their new representative from the government that they talked to, who's a former friend of Charles's, Stacy. What's her name? Val Cooper.
Valerie Cooper.
Valerie Cooper, who was jazzercising when they talked to her. She's running on a treadmill in a very obvious 90s
voiced by Catherine Disher.
Yeah, the old Jean Grey.
Oh, that's fun.
And Jennifer Hale is the new Jean Grey. Big get for the show.
Newfoundland's own Jennifer Hale.
Yeah, true.
Newfoundland, really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you know? I
hope one day she will be on the show. Let's see what happens.
Great Big C.
Oh, okay. 2 good things came out of Newfoundland.
I'll be like, you know, I'll be like, wait, I messaged her. I should have said, David Cutler, right? You're from Newfoundland.
Yeah, they must all know each other. It's only one good thing that came out of New Brunswick was Donald Sutherland. We all get one good thing.
I didn't talk to anybody.
Nobody cool. Well, Jennifer Hale would have been a bit older than you, I'd assume.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I assume
she's got to be like in her 50s probably now. She was like Wonder Woman in the Justice League cartoon and stuff too, right?
Well,
she's been a ton of voices.
Well,
I mostly know her from Mass Effect. She's FemShep.
No, but I'm pretty sure wasn't she Wonder Woman in like the Batman extended Justice League cartoon? Like the Batman
Jennifer Hale, Wonder Woman. No,
Andre.
I thought she was. I must have got her mixed up with someone else.
She played Killer Frost in Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. How about that?
All right. Okay.
She played Jean Grey in Wolverine and the X-Men, so she's been Jean Grey before.
Okay, cool.
Oh, this is all old hat for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's talking about how the Trask is supposedly like they're trying to figure out where this technology would have came from because Bolivar Trask supposedly died when the last Master Mold thing happened. And then Cyclops makes a fun little note. He's like, maybe when the cardio's done, you can go do some work, find out if he's still dead or not, Which is funny. She's like, the last Master Mold was destroyed. He's like, when cardio's done, maybe you can find out if he built another one, another Master Mold. He's so sarcastic, but I love it.
Well, I get it. Like that's how little time she has for the X-Men. She's just like cutting into her workout. Like it's slightly better than she calls them on the toilet.
Yeah.
It'd be great if she was on the toilet. Like legit. She's just like, okay, guys. Yeah, I'll get on that.
I saw someone theorize based on nothing that she's Mystique, and for some reason I believed it. Like I'm just like, yeah, maybe she is Mystique. Based on nothing. Nothing but putting the picture of Mystique next to a picture of Val Cooper and going like, huh?
She could be, but I don't think she is.
I feel like wasn't a description for a future episode referencing something to do with her, something mysterious about her, or there's something coming out about her. Maybe the way she's described in something describes her character as being mysterious.
Those episode descriptions, I didn't know.
Maybe I thought there's something I read somewhere that made me indicate that there's a villainous turn for her possibly in the future. But I'm not 100% sure.
So maybe, I don't trust her as far as I can. Push her.
Don't trust this Valerie Cooper.
How far can you push her? I mean, you
trust that red dress as far as I can throw it.
She's not really. She was in a jazzercise outfit. We don't know what the dress was.
Well, later on, too.
Stress business.
These humans are trifling.
These humans are what? Trifling.
Good for nothing.
Just calm down. Dave. Jeez.
Which Zex tells us she was Jean in Wolverine and the X-Men anime and Marvel vs. Capcom.
Come on, Jennifer Hale. Give someone else a turn.
Someone else a turn at the Jean Grey can here.
Plus, she's 2 Jean Greys now, to skip ahead.
All right.
Yeah, well, that's true enough.
All right, so...
yeah. That's a good point.
said there. She'd have to mask her scent because Wolverine would sniff her out before, he has sniffed out Mystique.
So it's funny because they have a death certificate. Well, also they have a death certificate. After this talk, they look at the death certificate of Professor X, which is on the desk.
He's either dead or it's a massive fraud.
Well, I was going to say
a fraud.
Because how you can't just go to the government and say, yeah, he died, because they wouldn't have a bodies in space. I guess they could have got morphed to look like him and then fake his death that way, which is an even worse massive fraud.
Very convoluted, yeah.
80% of Professor Xavier's existence is fraud. This is nothing new, fellas.
But Cyclops also said that Cyclops also says that the death certificate came yesterday in the mail. But how much time has gone by? Because Jean is very pregnant.
Well, I got the feeling it was about 9 months.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
But death certificates would not take 9 months to come after someone dies.
Who knows? Bureaucracy. But it's less than a year, but it's clearly many months. I'm thinking 9 months because we have a baby born in this whole two-parter.
So the baby's not born yet. Oh yeah, it is born
in the two-parter.
Right. Okay. So then Jean's trying to get telling that Cyclops that perhaps they should leave the X-Men and build a life for themselves alone because they have to raise this baby now. And Cyclops, of course, doesn't really want to do that. But Jean's trying to reach
intention of raising that baby.
We skipped this, right? The dance scene?
No, we didn't get to that yet.
Get there yet. Okay.
So while they're having this heartfelt moment, a basketball comes in through the window from the team that are playing outside and smashes the picture of Charles and the original team. And then we see them all using their powers on each other while playing basketball. Jubilee basically attacked him because he scared off Roberto with his little work in the danger room. Jubilee's worried that if the creeps that tried to take him last time might come for him again.
The friends of humanity. Well, they've kidnapped her several times. She knows what it's like.
Yeah, she's been there.
They have a moment where Wolverine susses out just from their looks about what they're planning on, that they're possibly planning on leaving the team, basically. But they have a nice moment showing the contention between Wolverine and Cyclops, where Wolverine says, the worst part of the Professor, he said what Geiger did was pretty bad, but the worst part of Xavier being gone is you, he says to Cyclops. So he obviously isn't a fan of Cyclops being in control. It seemed like Wolverine got over his hatred, like him and Cyclops at the last season.
He's got
but now Jean's pregnant.
Yeah, I can buy that now that Jean's pregnant. He's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is permanent.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
so
not
you
getting
guys
in
are
between
serious
this. But
now.
it was a huge rollback for his character, to the point that I was like, you're a grown man several times over, sir.
Yeah.
He calls Cyclops dad at one point. Like, he's like, oh yeah, dad. Like, man, you were born in like 1880. Like, fucking get over it.
Bob. Keep buzzing in my ear.
So this one establishes that Scott and Jean used to sneak off as kids, basically, as little mutants, to go down to the lake. So Scott and Jean were an item as children before Wolverine ever shows up.
Teenagers. Yeah, but of course they were.
Teenage children. And then Wolverine shows up when they're in their 20s. They've got this thing going for years, and he tries to get, like, what are you doing? Just grow up.
But that was always the story. We knew that back then. They clearly had been established.
It's different when you're an adult and you like really think about these things through. And so like Wolverine seems like a baby.
Wolverine's the bad guy in that scenario. Always has been. People are crazy. He's a homewrecker. Just because he has a thing for redheads.
Yeah, I always thought it was strange when they finally did the Origins comic, and then they bring in like his love interest in the back looks exactly like Jean Grey, like exactly. Yeah.
Redheads. So Heather Hudson, he loves redheads.
The X-Men are going to check in on Mr. DaCosta, make sure he's okay. So they go to this underground rave where he invited Jubilee to, or she mentioned she knew he was at somehow. I can't remember exactly.
And she was spoken for too.
Yeah, that's right. He just maybe he just likes women that already had. Maybe that's part of the chase for him. He only likes it.
It's a pattern.
Yeah, that's right. Like once Jean Grey's finally like, oh hey, Scott cheated on me with the White Queen, we can be together now. He's like, I don't want you. I liked it better and it was about taking you away from him.
That's some context to the Ultimate Spider-Man story where he and Peter Parker swap bodies.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Which was a cool story at the time.
Freaky Friday.
He makes a play for Mary Jane.
Right. Who's also a teenager.
Oh yeah,
redhead.
Yeah,
who's a teenager.
Makes sense. He's like, I'm just gonna call you Jean.
The X-Men. Yeah, that's right. You're Jean now. What?
You're Jean.
Shut up,
Mary Jean. How about Mary Jean?
So they split up. You see Rogue and Gambit go off. Rogue and Gambit seem a lot more together in these episodes than they were before.
It's very cute. Very cute.
So they go off, and Gambit has a drink.
Well, it's cute till it isn't.
Well, it gets very uncute later, but that's part of the adultness of this show coming through, which is nice.
Yeah.
So Rogue just says how she's scared that she could brush into someone and the same thing. And Gambit says any worthwhile man would gladly take a shot, being hurt to touch you, basically. So you see their moments together, kind of. Morph and Wolverine have a little bit of a moment, which is nice because it shows their friendship.
But through all 5 seasons and this new series, Gambit has never wavered in his commitment to Rogue.
Yeah, I mean,
he might after this season.
He's categorized as a player, but he is the loyalist.
100%.
Yeah, he's very much into Rogue, and all she ever does is not take him seriously and call him names.
Sometimes like throw him through walls and stuff.
Yeah.
In a pig's eye.
So this is where it plays into what Dave was saying, how they've kind of maybe Wolverine's backslid a bit because Jean Grey she takes Jean Grey's form and shows she's pregnant and how she's pregnant now with Cyclops' kid, and Wolverine makes him angry because she'd rather be with the most boring man in the world and have his baby than be with Wolverine, but keeping him on the sidelines. That
was so hilarious, though.
It was real funny.
I'm having the most beautiful baby in the world with the most boring man in the world.
And the way that he makes his belly bulge when he says having the baby, the belly goes like boom. Just great.
I was rolling on the floor.
But also, which makes me kind of think that like it's not so much a backslide is because it's. Now Wolverine's also faced with, because when Morph does all that, Wolverine says, "Don't you get it?" He says fighting Magneto and other monsters is no place to raise a kid. They're gonna leave the team, and that might be why he's also quite upset because they're gonna leave. Wolverine. If anything, Wolverine has established many times in the past he doesn't change very much.
Maybe he's gonna miss Scott too. Maybe he's gonna miss them as friends.
He's also experienced enough to know it's the right thing to do for them. So he's like, he knows it's going to happen. He's like, they have to. You have to take a kid away from this crazy shit.
Yeah, and then Morph realizes, that's what's going to happen too. But just as that's happening, we see the Friends of Humanity show up, Carl and some of his slackies. Wolverine could smell.
I'm gonna say something in Wolverine's defense. This is the only family Wolverine has ever known in his brain that's been left to him after all the experiments and stuff. Like, this is his world.
He remembers Alpha Flight.
Yeah, but other than Heather and Guardian, whatever.
Alpha Flight don't like each other and never have.
Yeah, they're not family.
Well, as far as what
coworkers.
Well, listen, we don't know
best.
what the Alpha Flight in the show is like. We know what the Alpha Flight in the comics are like. They could be different worlds.
But Wolverine had a similar reaction to the idea of somebody taking the cure for their powers. The idea that they'd go be normal rather than hang out with him. And Cyclops was like, "Oh, I don't know. Some people have to wear a giant body condom and can't touch anybody, Wolverine. They're not all immortal super soldiers."
I had the same thought that MZ had. Is this because Jean's just doing those, or Morph's just doing those quick changes in the bar?
They're all on LSD. They don't know.
Oh yeah, everybody's on drugs. Plus, they have the strobe light going, so you can't tell what's going on there.
But he's doing it kind of slick too. Like he'll walk behind Wolverine.
And come out somebody else.
Yeah. He's trying to be slick about it. It's pretty slick.
So Jubilee comes across Roberto, and
what
the fuck is that supposed to mean? And then we get a really cool sequence where Jubilee starts dancing and using her powers while she's dancing, which is pretty cool.
Alpha Flight be like E.T. in the dress.
That's the best interpretation I can think of.
Classic Alpha Flight. Yeah, Jubilee's using her powers in public too.
The lights were popping, man. The lights were popping.
Oh, mutants are in vogue. Good point. Gyrick does say that. They're a fad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, they're having mutant fashion shows and stuff. So right now the mutants are having we don't see much of it, but we hear about it. There is
But isn't that strange that mutants are having this big kind of public acceptance right after Magneto apparently had a rebellion or an uprisal?
Maybe not many mutants would join in with them. I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe that was it. They rejected him. Actually, that would go a long way. That's a good theory. I like this. This is a smart show.
Yeah.
Even the parts that we're adding.
Yeah. So as Jubilee and him start kind of having a moment, they were interrupted by the rest of the X-Men, who said the Friends of Humanity ran when they saw them, but left behind some of their tech. Which they
I feel like we missed out on an action scene there. They're like, oh, it's already pretty tight.
Yeah, probably
something cool should happen.
There probably would have been a big fight normally in the bar, which would have been kind of cool. But hey, then we get a very Hannibal Lecter-ish scene where they go to visit old Henry Geigerich in prison, who has gone from being a kind of a squirrely, really annoying, not manly guy at all to basically a sociopath. The way they're depicting him in this.
Well, prison hardened.
He was always
maybe prison has hardened him. No, he was always kind of Ron Rubin. He was always kind of a win.
The original Morph is now the voice of Gyrick, so we get some Ron Rubin here.
Oh,
he's serving 25 years to life for 25 years for killing Professor Xavier. I like his voice. He does his voice gets softer but more evil. You mutants are. It's almost like the way Michael Emerson did the voice for. This is not a deep cut, but the guy that Michael Emerson, the actor, he's in Lost. He played Ben. He's like a little. He's in that Person of Interest show with Henry Cavill for a million years. He always kind of plays a creepy dude. But he did the voice of the Joker in the I think it was the Dark Knight Returns animated movies, part 1 and part 2. And it kind of reminds me of his Joker in that. It's a little more creepy, a little softer. But the X-Men are Bishop's watching through a glass, the standard cop thing, where Cyclops and Storm are trying to find out because of the Trask stuff showing up.
Oh, is that right? Maybe I'm wrong. Lucas says Ron Rubin voices Senator Kelly. Oh, I think that is right.
Oh, okay.
Who's voicing Gyrick then?
Isn't Kelly the president now on the show? Or he was at the end of last season.
You're right. You're right. Ron Rubin is right than President Kelly. Well, who's voicing Gyrick? All right. Continue.
So they're hoping that maybe he had changed, or jail has changed him, but he obviously has gotten harder and more evil. They're trying to see if there's some link to Trask through him because they were connected before, but he's not giving them any information. He's happy that he's killed Xavier, and he says that all these people play, but humans know deep down that mutants are going to replace them, so they're never going to be okay with them no matter what they do, which is a nice little moment. But it's always kind of funny. It's like The way everyone treats this, it's like mutants are going to replace us. But I guess that's the way backwards racists think about everything. That minorities are going to replace us or immigrants are going to replace us or whatever. It's not like they're just going to come in and kill you and take your job.
Well, some of the dialogue from Executioner later is so like what people say. Like,
yeah. I've seen people say that it's heavy-handed, but I'm like, have you ever listened to a right-wing podcast? They're not subtle people, man. I've seen that in so many comment sections. If you can't point it out without being heavy-handed, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? But yeah, I mean,
okay, you're right. Gyrick is played by somebody named Todd Haberkorn. So all right,
he does a great job.
A fine Gyrick there, Todd.
But then Jean uses Cerebro to get into Gyrick's head and get some information. She does while doing so. She kind of touches almost like like an astral plane or something, where she sort of sees an image of Master Mold in the desert. But she also
I don't know if that freakout she has there is just the.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's being in his mind. I think it's connected to something else.
Oh yeah, no, that's because she's Maddie. It has nothing to do with it. She's Maddie. That's why.
She is though, isn't she?
She is Maddie. Yes, that's Maddie, and that's why she did that. She's starting to, because Inferno's the next episode. She's starting to slip into
that clip looks
the Goblin Queen mode. It's Maddie, and Maddie's having the baby. It's not even necessarily Cable because he's not Nathan Christopher Summers. He's Nathan Charles Summers. So
it's like I'm getting a headache already.
This baby could be X-Man, perhaps.
Okay, look, I know
Nate Gray, X-Man.
I hope it's a little more streamlined than that, because with comics you have decades of continuity that all overwrites itself 80 times, and you got to pick one lane and go with it when it's something.
X-Men never picks one lane.
Well, you're gonna have to. It's got to be Cable.
No,
he's in the show. We know he's in this season.
We knew he's in the show, but that doesn't mean the baby's him.
And we know that
it could be the Wild Man of Borneo.
And we pretty much know
the Wild Man of Borneo.
We pretty much know that Sinister is going to be the overarching villain for this season, which is going to all tie into this. So
yeah, because he ties into Maddie and everything. Like he created Maddie.
So you think Maddie's been Jean this whole time?
I think Maddie Jean could have supplanted by Maddie anytime after Dark Phoenix. I think.
Yes, so she never came back from the dead. Is my thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
She's been missing since season 3 or 4, whenever Dark Phoenix ended. And he got her DNA in season 2 when he captured them after their first non-wedding.
She does distinctly reference being in space and all that stuff after, which could be subtly leading towards that. So yeah, I could buy that.
Mm-hmm. Jean's been gone a while.
So she gets kind of a dreamlike logic, which sees her with a baby. Also sees
Jean would never have a kid with Cyclops.
No, not her husband. The guy she tried to marry. Like how much can fate just fuck with these two? They're like, okay, they tried to get married, they got fucked up. It took them forever to finally actually get married. They finally get married, and then they're like, nope, she wasn't her either. That was a clone. It's like Spider-Man and Mary Jane in that cartoon. Every time they try to get together, they just fuck it over every single time. Like now she's a water clone.
I'm made of water. Yeah. Oh, Peter, I'm wet. Oh, that's great, MJ. No, I'm actually a living water. This makes complete sense.
They really put. It must be because they couldn't use Sandman, I guess, because they put for some reason put Hydro Man in that show way too much than he ever has been in the comics. Yep. So we get them going off to go. Because of her vision, when she was, this weird vision she had, she saw the what was like a skull master mold in the desert. So they're going out to where they believe the master mold is. Yeah, I think Lucas is right. I think part of her activating Cerebro and her powers is she's seeing something to do with the future. But we'll see.
Since when did Cerebro dip into the future? Come on.
I think it's her powers. I think it's just elevating her powers or something. I'm not saying it's not Maddie. I'm just saying whoever is using this, because whoever this person is probably believes they're Jean Grey. So whatever. But from what we know. So anyway, as they're driving the ship
end of Phalanx. That's a very specific guess there, Lucas. I think she was switched at the end of Phalanx Covenant. So after the two-parter that opened season 5.
Oh man, that's deep. Well, it might be deeper than the writers are going with the continuity. But that would be smart.
They're attacked by Sentinel in the ship. basically, it's a really great little fight sequence here with Cyclops using his powers that are pretty cool. When he like takes off the head of the Sentinel when it grabs him, and then the arm using his power. It's so cool.
That's the
and he
coolest
rips the top off the thing. It's so
that's
neat.
ever happened to the X-Men in motion, like outside of the comics. So dope. The Sentinel rips the top off. No hesitation. Cyclops unloads.
It's nuts.
And it grabs him first, but then Cyclops like uses powers to take the top of the head off, then the arm, and then the whole plane goes up because of and they all get thrown out. But
luckily
then
there are 3 flyers, well 2 in a shape.
Yeah, more a nice little nod. Morph turns into Archangel and rescues some people.
Archangel's at home, like waiting for a phone call. We
don't need
all you do is fly.
Yeah,
we got guys for that. Sorry.
It's funny too.
Morph's a cameo fest, and I love it.
He also takes the form of current Archangel. Like he could be nice feather wings Archangel, but he takes current Archangel.
He wants badass metal wings.
Yeah, but he's not too happy about it.
No.
And Scott waits, makes sure the whole team is taken care of, and then he's like, I got me.
It's the destruction of the Blackbird, as MZ says, which is a nice, which I'm sure they have more or backup or something.
I kind of figured that was just one of many.
Cyclops uses his abilities to slow his fall and land, which is cool. It's nice seeing him use his powers.
I don't think, or at least I hope, and I've heard somebody else, like Lucas X says, and this Jean is the one who keeps talking Cyclops into leaving the team.
Yeah,
I've heard people sort of theorize that she knows she's not the real Jean. I hope that's not true. I don't
think she does. No, I don't.
It will diminish my enjoyment because the tragedy of Madeline is that she just like my boy Ben Reilly. He's somebody else. He's somebody living a lie to no fault of their own.
It'll never. Yeah, it's just a victim, really. But it's
and then the world leaves them behind, just like you're not the real Jean. You maybe have my baby, but
she has like genetic plants. Like she's compelled to do these things.
Dave,
sure.
Why
not?
We gotta like I just had a great idea. It's like, did they ever put together a team of all of the duplicates or doubles or people that weren't really the people that they thought they were? You can make a cool team of those people.
Would you draw that book, Dave?
No.
Well, they kind of do that when they made Ben Reilly into what's his evil name?
Chasm.
No, Ben's not evil.
No, he is now. He might not be again. I don't know, but he has been.
Right.
But
I think he's still evil.
But wasn't Madeline Pryor behind that whole storyline? Because there's that X-Men Spider-Man crossover where
they were like an item or something.
Yeah, something to do with being, and I think they connected on that because they were both not who they thought they were.
Yeah, Madeline gave Hallows Eve her powers.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's Ben's girlfriend.
Which is one of the coolest new additions to designs in comics.
I love her.
Havoc also dated Maddie recently in comics.
Yes, I wasn't like super on board with that event, but the X-Men tie-in, that series, it was drawn by Phil Noto. I forget who wrote it. Was great. Where Madeline to keep Cyclops from opening his eyes, she has all these puppies floating around his head, so he can't. Oh man, really funny.
So the X-Men come across Trask, who is still alive, and in the center of this Sentinel graveyard that's made up of all these broken, messed up Sentinels from the past. He obviously still unhinged, still believes in this master mold creation, which he's rebuilt. This is such a great sequence. They're like they're like
they start waking up.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Then the master mold activates, and then all of the dead, they're almost like zombie sentinels because they're in various stages of disarray and destruction. And they also, some of them have no legs, and they're coming at them out of the piles. So cool! Such a great sequence. Big fight with. This is the big fight
right, though. It was the best superhero landing ever.
In Cyclops lands.
Oh yeah.
It's the best shit ever.
It's great too because they made it.
I was squealing with glee.
It was well done on a narrative level too because they made it in the desert. So there's no you can't land in you couldn't do that in a city because you'd fuck up all these buildings and probably kill somebody. But because the desert, there's nothing around.
My X-Men.
Yeah.
We
do get some great just seeing them Beast takes control of one of them by getting into the center. Says the best.
Everybody gets to shine.
Yeah.
Might I induce you to a change of heart?
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful involuntary friendship.
I like that he names it Louis, instantly names him Louis. And he's like, Lewis.
I also love how it becomes
funny.
like a judo master after he takes over. It's like flipping people and kicking.
Well, that's Beast.
Yeah, I know.
It
Yeah.
was great.
The whole sequence is just amazing. And I love it, when they do their big landing, like the big superhero landing.
And just the designs, and
then this Rogue just goes.
Oh, the flick of her hair. Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
It's so
great.
good.
And dust pops out of it.
Yeah.
All of the you see Bishop getting hit with the beams and then blows that Gambit throws a card that doesn't quite blow the head up, and then Bishop absorbs the bat thing and shoots it back and blows the head up.
Oh, the combo moves,
them working together.
X-Men is a well-oiled machine. I've said this so many times, more than the Avengers ever could dream of.
This is where Storm
gets the powers are more varied on the X-Men. At least, sometimes the Avengers get kind of kooky team makeups, but usually, with your standard Avengers.
Usually they throw some X-Men on the Avengers team to mix it up, is what they usually do. They go, here's some mutants. So then this is where Storm gets her big moment where all the Sentinels stop because they sense the arrival of an Omega threat mutant.
Cyclops calls the big gun.
Who is Storm, who comes in and uses her powers.
Hold on, don't go anywhere. Don't wait a minute.
Give him the forecast.
That's a great line.
Heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
These enormous bolts coming down, turning the sand into glass. Man, oh man.
I
may have cried. I'm not going to talk about it in any more detail.
You cry? It's fine.
It was finally. Not only did they finally put respect on Cyclops, but even more importantly, Storm is finally portrayed the way she should, and this even when they did this
Omega level threat detected.
That music.
I was like, oh my god, the music is so good. You guys are right, the soundtrack is amazing.
I'm actually gonna look up when I have a second to see if it is available on vinyl because I want it.
I want that vinyl too.
My
record player's right there.
I got one. I got three, but there's one right beside me right there too. It's a box top because I'm doing some work. There's something in it, but
it's the old Sears model.
You got a record player too. Oh,
there's Magneto.
There we
there's
go.
Mojo on the record player.
Oh, nice.
Oh, sweet.
We're all hipsters. I love it.
Yeah.
Mojo right here, but does Andre have a Mojo? So obviously, two people here are cooler than the other.
I have a lot of Spider-Man stuff in my closet.
That's pretty cool, but is it Mojo? Let's move on.
I also have a bunch of the toys of the Power Rangers robots up there too. And all the the big neck and ninja.
Are we comparing Power Rangers to Mojo now? Let's move on. You're just digging a deeper hole here. On
Power Rangers are great. They got their own resurgence episode on Netflix a little while ago.
I grew up in the age of the putties.
I still reference a lot. One of my favorite moments on my other podcast is when I had Dave on, and we were talking about when he discovered that he had indigenous heritage, and he said it's like finding out you come from a long line of putties. I still think that line was one of the best lines on the show.
Yeah, to put that in context. But yes, that is.
I didn't say it. I did.
As a little boy, that is how I thought of it.
Yeah, because the way society was structured, it made you think that, the indigenous were the bad guys and everything. But
I appreciate your thought on my birthday, MZ.
Yes, and Master Mold finally does something I don't think he's done on this show yet. Stand up.
That's his big moment.
No, because they went right after his legs last time.
Yeah.
And then they do that big scene where they radiate Wolverine's claws and they throw him at.
It's so cool.
Then
we didn't get to see that. He throws his stick.
Morph turns into the blob and falls down, letting Wolverine bounce off him to be able to take the head right off the Master Mold. Then we see the government.
It's not a moment of the X-Men being like dope fighters or anything, but like one of the animation highlights is when the Sentinel throws Wolverine and he goes
Beast?
Flipping into the camera, and then he collides with Beast, and they go bursting out of the back of the Sentinel.
And you get it from his view where you see Beast's face right up close where he hits him.
Yeah, that
really
was,
cool.
I mean...
Yeah, it was
you can put that up against anything in any animation.
Oh, yeah.
Even in live-action movies, it's super cool.
I mean... To me, this fight and the end of the next episode better than anything in the MCU. And I am not an MCU detractor. I'm not. I love a lot of those movies.
It's not X-Men.
This is better.
Yeah, it's X-Men.
The X-Men are better characters than the Avengers. I'm sorry. I didn't make reality. I didn't do that.
No, I didn't either. They only made those Avengers movies because they didn't have the X-Men at the time. That's literally the only reason.
Yeah.
It's
So we
hard
see
to
the,
say, but it's true.
The UN show up with Val Cooper, and like the more you say about her being a Mystique, possibly Val Cooper, the more I'm thinking.
See, it's based on nothing,
now.
but it gets in
Get
your
out
head.
of here.
There's a look. There's a look in her eye when she's landing that she doesn't look happy, and
Look in her eyes.
Why does Val Cooper have to be happy?
So then we see Trask getting taken away by the UN, and he says, "You like to think that you to show off how well you're going to protect us, but every time you do, all you make us think about is how you're going to replace us." And one thing I just noticed, which is pretty cool, is they do a really big. He says humanity will soon be obsolete, and we see a close up on Cyclops' face. And it's funny because it's mirroring, like, narratively, it's so beautiful because it's mirroring Cyclops' own struggle with leaving the X-Men to go raise his kid and stuff too, where he says, Trask says, "You have no idea what it feels like to know you're being left behind by history," and it zooms in on Cyclops' face, and you get it. And I didn't notice this the first time, but it's pretty cool. You can actually see his eyes through the visor.
Yes.
Yeah, which is neat. They're red, and you see them moving the way someone does when they're thinking about something, which is really cool. So he's blinking and he looks down. But then Cooper says that the special science people are coming in to dismantle Master Mold. And they say, "We owe you another, debt," as normally. And Cyclops says that Trask thinks that, we're going to go to war instead of unite. And Cyclops is worried that that's still an issue, but is happy that this sort of stuff happened. We see Jubilee and Sunspot have a nice moment where she's trying to get him to come to the school, and he's going to think about it, basically.
Real cute. Real cute.
Like,
Finally,
my house
an
is better
age-appropriate
than this.
crush for Jubilee.
But he shows her what. Yeah,
Fun.
I hope Longshot shows up and there's like a lovers triangle.
No, get out of here.
Come on, I want to see that mullet again. Longshot's definitely coming back.
Yeah, well, I hope we see Longshot, but not for those reasons.
Oh no, I want to. I don't mean like a legit threesome or something. I just want to see like the fun little, that fun stuff. I'm sure they're going to go that route.
I appreciate your theory, but it sounds like a long shot.
Sunspot finally shows her his powers because she was curious what they were before, and he never showed. So
you get one arm. That's what you call a tease.
Yeah, he powers up the way, and it's all black with the popping bubbles. It's pretty cool.
I always love that design.
Oh yeah.
Do you like drawing Sunspot there, David Cutler? Comic artist extraordinaire.
Don't think I ever have. I could be wrong because I've drawn most.
You've drawn many New Mutants. Yeah,
but I don't know if I've ever drawn Sunspot or Cannonball, the two boys.
Well, let's see it. Don't worry about Cannonball.
Honestly, I think the design
blasting.
If we had to put like a fiery guy in this team, I would have liked to see Sunfire just because I love his design with the mask and stuff.
The mask.
Yeah.
Well, Sunspot isn't fire. He's like pure radiation. He's
right.
It's like energy.
I like the look of him though.
We've seen
Sunfire. It does set stuff on fire.
Yes,
but he's not fire.
So Sunspot gives her his card, tells her, she says, "So you are rich," and he says, "And single," and he gives her his card, which is very 90s design.
Yeah, in the Memphis style. That's what that style of graphic design is called.
And then he says another very 90s thing. He says, "Page me sometime."
Yeah,
he does.
Oh, pagers! Yeah. Pagers were so useless.
Not if you're a doctor or a drug dealer,
or Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So then we see the
apocalypse comes. Beat me.
So then we see the X-Men finally united, playing basketball together, and then
and Cyclops is loosened up. He's like, he's got his hat backwards, so we know he's cool.
But then they get an alert that someone's broken into the mansion, which breaks up the game. They all run in and see Magneto, who's reading the book that is the last Will and Testament of Charles Xavier. The 400. It's like The Stand, but a will.
It should have been the last Will and Testament of Charles
Xavier. The last will and testament of Charles Xavier. Everything he built now belongs to me.
Yep, and then that's the cliffhanger. Ending the episode, we get a return of the is it this one or the next episode that does the return of the spinning card and exits?
Well, they both do. They both
do. That's right. And then we just get a shot of the school for the rest of it. But it's so cool that Davin, you must have geeked out to see that end again, where you see the spinning mutant cards.
Oh, I loved it, and they even cut it off before you see everybody, just like the old
just like they did before.
Oh yeah,
they used to cut off Jubilee.
That little cursor would click away before Jubilee came out.
Yeah, now it's like they cut off Bishop and a couple others. Like they cut off 2 or 3 of them, I think. It's completely in Charles's character to have a will as a hardcover novel, says Jameson Miller. Well, that's fair.
It's a very it looks like The Great Gatsby. Like it's a very elaborate hardcover. It's like a Taschen. He got like Taschen books to make his last will.
The good printers, definitely the good printers.
He is very rich. I'm sure it's itemized.
Yeah.
It's not just like everything Magneto.
Yeah, this chair in this room, Magneto. But why did Scott get nothing? Like, not even a chair? Like, not even the danger room? Nothing? There's something squirrely going on
considering,
there. Did they even read
he's
it?
never had a job, and he's got a baby on the way. You'd hope that Charles set aside something for
Seriously. Some of the cash, anyway.
One would hope, but hey, who knows?
Charles is a monster.
On to episode 2. This is going to be a long night, boys.
Yeah, well.
So we get into we see a mishap at Coney Island where the Ferris wheel's breaking down and they're trying to save them, but it's falling apart somehow. Like the kid is going to fall out of the thing, and he is saved by Magneto. And it's a scene by the news and everybody who reporting on this accident.
And the sound design, just brilliant, because the sound when the metal stops and lifts back is eerie, like old metal, like and together. That's an eerie noise. So it's not like it's a hero moment, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like,
and it also
what is going on.
It also makes you think. It also makes you realize how terrifying real life this would be. You know, like literally the Ferris wheel is going to fall on the news reporter and everybody because it breaks and then it goes to fall on top of them. Which begs the question: why are they so fucking close to this Ferris wheel? It's having, they're all standing right beside it.
Ferris wheels are safe unless you watch movies.
They're like, this Ferris wheel is so fucked up. These kids might die. Let's all stand right under it and report about it.
That's what crowds do in the Marvel universe, man.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. Everybody puts himself in immediate danger.
But the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
This is New York.
So
you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
So the news reporters are all saved. The Ferris wheel gets put back on its moorings. The thing that broke off gets put back down. And then we see that they say, "Is that who I think it is?" And you see a purple figure, kind of shadowed with a white M on his chest, fly away. So they believe it could be Magneto, which is a shock because they're, as far as they know, he was a mutant terrorist, but he's becoming a hero. Which is funny how fickle the universe is. And I like that they had to have this episode if they're going to have Magneto be a part of the team so that the world will accept that he's on the team and it's not just going to always be like, isn't he a bad guy? So this episode kind of puts it back. But, it's like he did a lot of terrible things, like even, he had the asteroid in space. He had the, all that stuff before, like,
the asteroid in space was supposed to be a compromise. Like, it was supposed to be like, okay, I'm not going to kill you guys anymore. Just leave us alone up here.
It's a haven.
That's a fair point because he really only is a villain in this show in the first season.
Yeah.
After that, he's him and Charles are running around the Savage Land in the second one. And then the only time he kind of becomes villainous again is when he thinks that Apocalypse can bring back his wife. And that's only, and he's not really a monster then. He's just doing it to get his wife back.
He's both being persecuted by humans and played by Fabian Cortez in the Asteroid M stuff.
Yeah,
he's not like he's not mustache twirling, baby eating.
So he's saying he can't leave the team now with this going on, and she says and Jean Grey's like, well, maybe Cyclops says because he's watching a news report about this, and she's like, they got to think about the baby and what the future is going to be. We see the government watching the news report with Val and a bunch of people in the war room that looks like the one right out of Dr. Strangelove. But all these reports about, they mention the uprising right here. They say last year, Charles Xavier assassination. So I guess that means it's been 9 months, at least something close to a year.
Yeah, I mean, if it's December, if it's January, and it happened in December, it was last year.
Yeah,
then we cut. Vague.
Then we also see Carl.
Animals can be raised and slaughtered. It's one of my favorite lines in a movie ever.
Obviously, we need to repopulate the human race. That's 10 women for every man. So we see Carl in his beret working on some future stuff with his tech. He's making a gun. It's coming out of making a gun using some of the Sentinel technology they still have. We also see that
he's only got one shot. He says, "One shot.
One shot. Do not miss your chance to go. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You gotta use yourself in the mutants you own." All right. So, so we see that they have taken over the sewers and have the Morlocks held captive. We see some of the familiar Morlocks from before, including Callisto. It's funny how they're always like, Callisto's the leader of the Morlocks, and then Storm's like, "You are well equipped to look after these people. I'll leave them in your care." And then and then they always get fucked up. Like almost every time something happens, they're like, the Morlocks are the first to get fucked up.
Magneto even makes that point. He's like, "I'm moving the Morlocks to Genosha because you guys couldn't be bothered to like give them food or a nice place to live." Like, Storm
invites them to the mansion, and they say they're not going up above ground until humans and mutants are equal. And it's like a hunger strike that no one on Earth knows about. Like, humans don't know you've got this little condition going on. You're going to be down here a long ass time.
That's a good point.
So, we see, so then Magneto shows up, fucks them all up, saying how, like, you don't even let them have the dignity of living in your waste. Like, he's like, they're living in the sewers, for God's sakes. And he can't even just leave them alone.
You still want to kill them.
You still want to kill them for nothing.
that line.
But you know what? People same with rats.
That Magneto line of it saddens me that you or Charles, with his considerable resources, never thought to do the same. Incidentally, you're all starting at McDonald's tomorrow because it costs a lot of money to relocate an entire race of people to an island off the coast of Africa. Ooh, kind of overstepped there. No more planes.
And like Leech was scared because obviously this kid's been through a lot, and then
luckily Charles left me 10 McDonald's franchises.
But it's great. It's like mutants don't see Magneto the way humans do. Leech is like, that's Santa Claus, man. Like he is like,
that's what I love. That he's
him.
Yeah, he's like,
Leech's so happy.
It's a good Leech.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me.
You're a Gambit. I'm the Leech.
Yeah, we'll bring it back to like the the end of the road cut that we watched last week. How like he has that moment when he's on the screen and all the mutants across the world that are like are being persecuted and treated shitty see this fucking golden god of mutantdom that's like, you shouldn't have to live this way. We're better than them. So like I can understand why he would be a figure that would be not necessarily polarizing to the rest of the mutantdom.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention it. It happened way earlier, but my one nitpick with both these episodes is the fact that Magneto seems to use his powers way too close to Leech, and Leech doesn't have a collar on.
Oh, does Leech always turn powers off, or can he just do that? No,
it's involuntary.
I don't know if it's depicted that way in the show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, but maybe I'm
wrong. Wolverine's blood wouldn't have been able to cure him if he was turning off mutant powers.
Fair, yeah, good point. Which we all remember from the best episode of this, I think the lowest rated episode of this of the show on this show.
Dave's favorite.
That I've seen more times than any other episode.
It's
so, a factor of 10.
It's so fucking bad, but I can see why you like it.
It's better than a few episodes of this show of the last.
Yeah, it's better. It's better than some of season 5.
It's better than like Secrets Not Long Buried.
Some year for Christmas, I try to like watch as many Christmas movies as I can. Some year I should try to dig out as many TV Christmas specials as I can and just watch a bunch of those.
Charlie Brown.
So, we see the X-Men sitting around the table talking about what's going on. And Bishop's like, I've seen a lot of timelines and a lot of worlds, and I've never seen one where this happened, which is a nice little nod. And Gambit's like, why don't we go change it back?
Although it's funny because Magneto is leader of the X-Men in the reality that the Wolverine and Storm came from in Bishop's second appearance.
Right.
So it's not unprecedented.
No, that's true. That is true. Yeah, he was the. So then they're interrupted by Mutant, who says he's arranged to have them sent to Genosha. And he says, "It saddens me. You've never thought to do this." Just rubbing it in. It's so funny.
Oh, one of the best lines is when Magneto says that you deny them the indecency of like living in your waist, something like you even deny them
dignity.
I said that earlier. Yeah.
You even deny them the indignity of living in your waist.
Yeah, that's when he attacks the friends of humanity. I said that earlier. That's like the great line where he said that. But there's some beautiful. They really get the beautiful. I know when they discussed the animation style of the show, how they said it was going to be closer to Archer. It is, but it's so much better. Like I just watched the finale to Archer like 2 days ago because they just put it up, the last episode, and this is so much better. Like,
well, it looks exactly like Archer in the some of the quiet talkie scenes.
Yes, but not the action. The action,
but not the action scenes. It doesn't look anything like it
No.
when Magneto's in the sewer. There, nothing.
Or when they're fighting the Sentinels or anything like that. Like it's so fluid. Like Archer's good, but it's a little clunky during the action sequences.
Speaking of when we're fighting the Sentinels, as a wrestling fan yourself, and if Murphy's still watching, do you notice what Rogue does to that Sentinel? She totally does the Bret Hart clothesline. Bret Hart had a very singular clothesline.
I believe Murphy brought up it was the RKO. She does the RKO.
I just started watching wrestling with the Royal Rumble this year. I was going to make a Cody Rhodes joke when you said that you had cried. I was going to be, don't you listen to Cody Rhodes? Men can cry now. We can do that.
He said it's okay before The Rock beat him up.
Yeah, that was cool. He was like bleeding.
Oh yeah, which they don't do in WWE anymore. You know, Vince McMahon's
yeah.
They're like, "Oh, you can bleed again."
Well, also they're like building up to this to be the biggest thing ever. But
yeah, but like they haven't bled on TV in like a decade. Like unless someone's got busted up, and they usually stop the match and then do something to them to keep the blood from coming if they accidentally get busted up.
Oh wow! It was pouring out of his head, and plus the rain. It was
he definitely bladed, which they don't do anymore.
Oh yeah! You can't fake that. It was pouring.
No.
Anyway, X-Men.
So anyway, Magneto was saying how Charles's death has made him want to try to be better, basically, and try a different way to do what Charles wanted to honor him. So he's trying. Then Cyclops says, "Well, let Jean scan your mind, then." And Jean doesn't want to do it. She said she only did it to Gyrick because they needed to save people. She doesn't want to do that.
Sucks.
She said even if she sensed that his intentions weren't sincere, that's only today. She said like it can change. People change. She says like if I see that you're not truthful now, that doesn't mean you're always not going to be truthful because people's minds constantly thinking about different things all the time. Which is a nice way of looking at it. It's never really been addressed before. Because everybody, if you think about your own thoughts, you probably have 100 different thoughts that if anyone listened to them at that moment, they think you're a lunatic, right? Because that's just the way the human brain is.
So much about human brains and psychology. Like you wouldn't take anything, any given moment too seriously. I don't think as a telepath.
It's funny because Magneto even says it was under the impression that you were leading us. So like. Cyclops, he still thinks Cyclops is the leader of the team and is not trying to take over as the team. Just the X-Men are now sort of his, I guess.
He just owns everything.
I guess so. Yeah, and
plus a sweet hardcover book, freshly printed.
Gene says, "Go read the will again." It's like if you have 6 months, if you have a month free, go read the will again. It says
Beast has been working on it for a week.
Magneto just makes everything really bureaucratic. Like they have to sign out for their uniforms and stuff and account for everything.
They have to pay a deposit every time they use them and return them in good order. Or they don't get the damage deposit back.
They have to sign out the will and testament. It's got one of those library card envelopes in the back.
You'll let a Sentinel do what to the Blackbird? It's like a $2 billion piece of machinery, Cyclops.
So Magneto is kind of like has moments with each of them basically, instead trying to say that he's changed, but Cyclops is still doesn't trust him, and everyone doesn't, of course. So, and then they say I don't know how this could happen, and the Magneto says even Charles Xavier could make a mistake. So maybe Magneto himself even thinks that maybe this wasn't the smartest decision, but hey, maybe Charles knows more than we know. So then we see Jean referencing last time she wore this costume, which is like her old big yellow mask costume. It was when she was taken by the Phoenix Force.
It was a classic X-Men the animated series continuity dump. line.
Yeah.
Where
Oh, yeah.
just pure exposition. I haven't worn this since we were on the moon in the blue area, and Scott defended me even though I was possessed by an evil entity.
Which makes me think that it's going to be really relevant later. So what you were saying, that if that's when she was replaced, then that would make...
Then Storm was like, yeah, I was there, Gene. What an odd thing to say.
What an odd thing to say. Here we are, arriving at Mr. Burns' secret vacation home that we were all invited to go to. What an odd thing to say. Yeah. So then they have a moment where Jean says she's afraid about the world her child's going to grow up in, because everybody hates mutants. And
great stuff.
Her and Storm have a nice little moment where Storm says she knows she's going to be a good mother because she cared. Like she says, she feels bad about being because she's an X-Man, so her role is to try to make the world better for mutants, but she still fears about this. And then Storm's like, no, you sound like a mother, because a mother.
I have wondered what it would be like to be human. It is a tempting daydream. But then I remember how my mutant gifts brought me to this mansion, to this family, to a sister.
Foreshadowing.
Well, the sister is also important because they're very close in the comics, like back to the early Claremont days.
They're best friends.
And they refer to each other as like my sister all the time, but that was never in the old show. Not touched on.
You never got it. Well, in the 90s, female characters didn't talk to one another.
I guess that's true.
Never.
It's true.
Unless it's about a man.
That's
true.
So I'm glad that's changed. Another reason why this show is glorious. I even posted about it on our page that
because their relationship is really important.
It's so important. That's why they split off and did the X-Men Gold team. It was the Storm Jean team. That's why that first issue, it has them back to back, and they're the leaders of that team. You get the sisters running the team. It was amazing, and I'm glad this show is so good. It's perfect. This is amazing.
I mean, yeah. Although this is one of the scenes where the animation's like, whatever. But
they're not doing anything really exciting.
It looks like
it's very archery in this scene.
Yeah.
We have a nice little moment here, which dumps in some more reasoning as to why Magneto's suddenly kind of a good guy now, sort of. Where Rogue comes to him when he's looking at his helmet, and he says that when him and Charles were friends before, they would be in each other's thoughts all the time, which sounded a little like more than just friends.
People are reading into that, but I'm not personally, but I can see it.
But he's like,
they were the only other mutant each one knew, so it was kind of like this.
Yeah, it was their dirty secret.
Yeah, he's like, he would always be in my thoughts, I'd always be in his, and we could sense the love we had for each other, basically. But then he says, but when we had our falling out, I shielded my thoughts, and then Rogue kind of surmises and says out loud that part of it was to hide his thoughts from Charles for the obvious reasons of hiding his plans and what he's going to do, but also it hid the feeling of how connected he was to Charles from him as well, so that he could easily do what he thought he had to do easier without feeling like he was
feeling Charles.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get a big whole chunk matzo ball of information that's dropped into the narrative, which is that he says, I'm surprised you would come see me alone. And she says, that was a long time ago. And we're never going to talk about it.
Now they're calling him Eric.
Again.
Yeah.
He was
she actually was calling him Eric in the first episode.
That's true.
And Gambit was like, what?
Yeah. So implying that they've had a previous relationship of a sexual nature, which we'll come to know later, that she doesn't want to talk about right now or discuss or bring up really.
And all this is told us through a series of cat-based metaphors.
That's right. It's all there if you know to read between the lines. You get one of those like conspiracy boards up with all the red strings.
You might miss.
You have all the.
But see, speaking of retcons, it's a retcon that the X-Men knew Magneto before the show started.
That's true.
Because not one of them had heard of Magneto except for Charles in episode 1. They'd never fought him before. But the rest of the show acts like he's an old enemy of all of them.
Yeah, but
the original team that now exists. So yeah, there is a bit of retconning going on for sure.
Rogue says it's been a long time, Eric, and she still, but we're not going to talk about that basically. Which is funny because wasn't she introduced as a villain originally? That was with Magneto in the comics.
Yeah, no,
no, she's on Mystique's Brotherhood.
Right.
Yeah.
The same as in the show, as far as we knew previously. But now I guess
yes,
maybe Magneto was pulling the strings of that Brotherhood incarnation.
We also establish, and Magneto mentioned it earlier, that he's enhanced his abilities somewhat or come to understand them better. And now he can manipulate things due to electrostatic stuff too. Yeah, but not just magnetism. It's like he can use, because like electricity is connected to electrostatic and all this sort of stuff. So anyway, his powers are
Unified
enhanced.
field theory.
So then the government shows up, wanting to take Magneto in because of all his previous crimes. He says, if I come with you and I'll stand trial, and looks back at the X-Men saying, if I pass this trial, then I will be absolved of all whatever happened before. And they say yes, basically. So then he realizes this is his chance to redeem himself, at least in the eyes of the world, be put on trial.
Val Cooper also says like their guns are protected against like they're not made out of magnetic parts or whatever, they're plastic guns. And then he just makes all the helicopters and like tips the blades towards them. Like, yeah, okay.
I mean,
cute.
It's so
plastic helicopters.
Yeah,
it's so dumb because he can just pick up the building and drop it on them. Like what do they think?
I know all the humans and their plastic guns to fight Magneto is always pretty funny. It's like, yeah,
they're basically
fighting him in a desert. Oh, but you know what? I think we glossed over it a little too fast. But like when Storm comes in and just fucks up all those Sentinels. I love what she's doing there. She's using her lightning to turn the sand into glass.
Yeah, Dave said that.
Throwing the glass. Oh, okay. It's just so amazing.
And then she makes them all rise up in like a thing in there. There's this really like slow motion where they're all falling after they rise up.
Yeah.
But also in the pro Val Cooper column, she comes across pretty brave there, facing down Magneto with the blades all facing and stuff. And she's still like, she believes in her country and due process and la la la.
Why would Mystique do that?
Deep cover.
Really friggin' deep cover.
Deep cover.
Really deep cover.
I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not saying I believe it.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
So the trial's on TV. Wolverine's watching it. We see a lot of. They use the word "piss" too, which is a nice little nut. The fact that Wolverine says the folks are pissed that Jean asks Wolverine if she's seen Scott. He says he's there with the others, making sure Magneto doesn't pull some stunt. She says he never told me that, and Wolverine says a lot of that going around lately, which is a slight little nod to everyone's hiding the truth. So there's a lot. I mean, as far as like recapping a show goes, a lot of this is in big flowery speeches. Is a lot of the time in this. But we see,
unfortunately, those are the best parts.
There, agreed. But I don't need to rehash the entire speech. It'll be a long time. But we do see what Carl was working on, which is the executioner suit. Which it's funny because my brother, I went and visited him a little while ago, and he brought out a box of the old comics we had growing up, and still in the plastic is that X-Men cartoon that introduced the executioner. Remember those the ones where they put them in plastic with a card of the new character in the back, and every comic had a new character in them? That was the execution. Oh yeah, they did one for Spider-Man.
I remember that.
The Spider-Man one, I can't remember who the character was, but it was someone that didn't really stick around. But the executioner was one of the X-Men ones.
Oh, so you're saying it was like an event like DC did where they introduced Hitman?
Yeah, that's the comic.
Yeah, where walking
so
the came with an executioner card.
There were the annuals that year. Everyone came in a sealed plastic bag with a card that introduced the character, because they're all new characters. There was a different X-Men one with a guy that shot spikes that was all white, I think. Or maybe that was a Spider-Man one. But there was
White Spike.
White Spike. Yeah. Little known but much loved Marvel character.
Well, huge.
Funny enough, the Marvel project Dave Cutler can't talk about is a White Spike.
Yes, the White Spike.
White Spike is part of the slapstick, the death of slapstick cultural reality.
He kills him.
Storyline.
White Spike kills slapstick.
He may have. He's one of the suspects. Darkhawk will get Chris Powell, Detective Chris Powell, Detective Darkhawk. We'll get to the bottom of it.
I think it's the best comic ever.
Of course, it's a Mystique. This is great.
So we see the gun he was working, like he's got this cool executioner armor he's been working on, but the gun that he worked on, he says, I got one shot to use this because this seems to be what the technology's been in. We see Magneto is on trial, in fact, where he says everything he's done basically has been defense to the.
No, I think executioner is all Sentinel and
it's all Sentinel
power canceling.
Yeah, I agree. Power canceling. Yes, he's just adapted the collars.
I bet I know who they're going to reveal invented those power collars.
Invented them way back in Genosha times, or just
this
new like?
Wait, no, way back. I bet it's going to be Forge.
Do you think so?
Because Forge is who's responsible for Storm getting in this way in the comics.
Oh, really?
He invented the gun that did it.
Yeah, and Life Death, which is coming up as well. Yeah, I think that's a good theory, Dave. I think that's pretty much on point.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow.
We're going to be knee deep in Inferno tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll probably be next week before we find out about Storm.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
Yeah, Life Death Part 1's in the Motendo.
Right.
Which I'm so excited for. Anyway, let's go. Plot.
I hope we get all the goofy music with Mojo. So basically they say, well, how are we to believe that you were going to walk Charles Xavier's path? You did all this horrible stuff before, and he keeps saying, well, everything I did was in reaction to what you guys did to us. Basically, I was just trying to save my people.
He also has great lines about the oppressors taking the oppressed taking the first opportunity to become the oppressor. This cycle of violence, just great stuff. That in light of some current political goings on, I was surprised didn't get subtly cast aside. But it's great stuff.
There's some really good stuff.
What, Executioner there?
But Gene goes in. Sorry?
It's just so many interesting things.
You got a name? Executioner. Here to make sure gene freaks like Magneto pay for their crime.
No one I hate about your kind. You act like you got it so bad. Normal people have it hard too. Harder. We just have the dignity not to whine about it. You see?
I do like that line, actually.
That echoes a lot of sentiments.
It 100% does.
I'm right back on Twitter.
It's
like I never closed my account.
Seriously.
It 100% does. It's like the whiny, it's like the where's the white pride, or where's the white pride month, or all that sort of stuff. So
where's Men's Appreciation Day?
Yeah, exactly.
November.
Yeah.
International Men's Day. It's in November. Oh, I didn't know.
Mother's Day. Where's Son's Day? Fucking matriarchy.
So basically, the Friends of Humanity interfere, trying to use their crazy weapon on Magneto, but they get into a big fight with Executioner in his outfit with the X-Men. There's a big crazy fight where, but during the fight, Cyclops gets a bit fucked up here, which is cool. He's got blood coming out of his mouth and his visor gets damaged. It's cool. You can see the technology behind the visor.
Executioner beats the shit out of him, and which is
a
crazy
real
because
Cody
earlier, whatever. In the first episode, they show how great a fighter Cyclops is. So for Executioner to come in and then beat the shit out of him hand to hand.
Well, it's like Scott could have annihilated him if he just opened his eyes, but he's in a populated area. He's in a populated area.
Which is a nice. It's almost like Carl learned something from the previous fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a great.
Beast does say the armor's badass.
It does make Executioner a pretty reputable. It does elevate him as a cool villain. I think he's I always was kind of forgettable to me as an X-Men villain in the comics, but in this he's pretty cool.
Well, I know,
and in the dialogue too, he's a realistic figure in our fucking world these days.
Yeah,
and that design is incredibly 90s.
Oh,
but he does get the visor off of Cyclops and then beat the shit out of him because Cyclops can't open his eyes, he'll hurt people that are there. He's like, I hate your whining just as much as I hate you. And basically brings Cyclops' face up. Brings Cyclops' face up right to the Mega Blaster to shoot it off, essentially. Blow his head off. But then he's attacked from behind by Strife. Who
No, it wasn't.
Or sorry, Lady Deathstrike. Sorry, Lady Deathstrike. I don't know why I said Strife. Okay, I made a mistake, Devin. Calm down.
I thought you did it on purpose Lady to get my hopes up.
No. But then he turns into Cyclops or Colossus, and then and then Psylocke, which is fun. He's becoming
so he's gotten powered up majorly because he can take on physical powers now.
Physical abilities.
Also, he's denser. He's denser as Colossus, and he made swords come out of his hands. So he's powered up, which I'm willing to rationalize that Mr. Sinister experiments on.
So Cyclops, Cyclops gets a message. Jean's gotten into labor. Wolverine's rushing her to the hospital.
Or they, I should say, they for more.
He's he and they, right? Like it was one of those.
I think it's he, they, but they only use they in the show.
Okay.
So Cyclops takes off because he's got to go. He's got from the fight because Jean's going into labor. While Storm takes over, basically. Rogue flies him in to be there. What's going on? The doctor won't work on her because she's a mutant, and they have stuff put in place to stop mutants because mutants could be dangerous and hurt the humans in the hospital.
This was a little like, I'm sure that would be a problem to a poor mutant, but like Jean doesn't have a OBGYN. Like she's made it this far on her own.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe Beast is her OBGYN. He's busy fighting folks. So the Friends of Humanity bust in. There's a big fight going on. Storm basically shows up and takes control of the situation.
Wait. I just thought of something. So in this whole scene, they're like, Rogue, can't you steal the doctor's knowledge on how to deliver a baby? Oh, wait, never mind. I was going to say Jean could just do that, but like
she's
her own baby. Okay, never mind. But
you can't deliver your own baby.
And then maybe
read the doctor's mind and use your telekinesis to deliver the baby.
Okay,
I'll be in the other
never
room
mind.
smoking a cigar.
I've recently watched 2 babies be born. I shouldn't be such an idiot. So, all right.
Oh, you mean your wife, your partner couldn't have delivered her own baby if she knew how?
She could.
It's a walk in the park. Come on.
She could have done it.
Childbirth isn't that bad. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. Don't get angry. Don't send us angry letters. Send them to Davin if you get them.
Oh, every time I have a cold, I tell her it's worse than childbirth. Don't you worry about it.
I've got a man cold. So she orders them, like the people there, to basically to get off their asses and help in this, like the folks, and get the collar off Magneto because they need him in this fight. Magneto's accosted by a bunch of the Friends of Humanity, and as he's sort of standing there looking at them, like he doesn't know what to do because he can just fuck him up. The Executioner has him in his sights, and then Storm sees this and takes the bullet for him, which is a cool moment where you see like energy coming out of her mouth and stuff, which is cool. Which drops her to the ground, and then she says she lost her powers. Basically, she can't feel. It's a really touching and sad moment. She's like, can't feel the wind or all the things she could feel before with the powers.
The breeze is gone. The moisture.
Yeah. And then Magneto like takes Carl, flips him upside down, takes the gun. It's pretty cool.
Such a good job of setting up that like more than any of them, Storm is connected to her powers.
Yeah.
The powers are a part of who she is. It's a part of how she sees the world, and she's also like
a goddess.
Yeah, she's the nuclear missile. Magneto calls her a goddess, the closest thing to a goddess we're like never see. So when she's on the ground, and Magneto's like, "This is what you wanted. Our kind's powerless and splayed out before you," and she's fucking crying.
Good. And while he's doing that, he's giving a speech to the UN guys or to the
what must we do to be good enough? Is this the High Road's destination? If so, I say, as I have too many times before, never again.
I love that line though. Is this where the high road leads us?
Yeah, and when he's
like the paved road to hell is paved with good intentions.
When he's saying it too, he's got this big. He pinned Executioner to this big circle thing off the wall.
He just keeps
and it's spinning behind him with him trapped.
Oh my god!
Cool. And Magneto's
the greatest badass of
he
all
blinks
time,
and everyone there is dead. Like he's mulling over like, what am I gonna do in this
situation? Oh yeah, and he talks to them about it. He's just like, man, like 6 months ago I would have.
He takes the judges. He rips open the ground around everyone and takes the judges and Carl into space, basically in the edge of space in the sky, and says, "I can kill all of you right now."
Ingrate, sycophant. Worm. Small, I could smite you with a step.
And he takes off Carl's mask and stands over him with his boot right over his face while he's saying this.
And he says worm.
You keep playing it, it's really good.
His face. Well, he's just like...
For an old friend has challenged me to remember this view of Earth. How vast it is versus how small we make it.
I love that line too, how vast it is versus how small we
Carl
make
Sagan's pale blue dot.
Yeah,
and Val even this is where like I'm swinging it back that Val's probably human because she could see her like being affected by his speech as well.
Oh yeah. And
like,
it would be stupid if she was Mystique.
Yeah, it would be.
All right, fine.
All right, finally, we ended that bullshit. All right,
but he says, he says like,
this. I am trying to be better. Do not make me let you down.
So
Yeah,
good.
I love that.
So good.
Especially since they're like 90 miles above the surface of the earth, like that. Don't make me let you down. If there's a threat in there, like, find me innocent.
Oh yeah. And the one line, you know what? I think we skipped over that. I just loved was he's like, funny how when you play by the rules and they still come.
They still come for you.
Yeah.
So good.
And it's insanely good.
I mean, I don't want to oversell it to like the man on the street who hasn't seen it, who didn't grow up with the X-Men, but I've never seen anything better. I've never seen anything better in genre fiction, in like cool pew pew bang bang, than that final scene. I've never seen it. It's like tops for me.
It's X-Men personified, which is as good as fiction gets, in my opinion. It nails it. Just do that in the MCU and watch the money roll in. Disney. Just watch it roll in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I argue,
because like
since
Kevin
Beast
Feige
is a CGI character,
top it.
Like
well, the thing is that
George
the thing is we only get this because of everything that came before. So we this moment wouldn't have the gravity it has if we didn't watch 5 seasons of the show already.
Avengers apologist.
I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying they can't.
Andre, Age of Ultron. No, all right, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm just saying that like they'll get there hopefully, but they can't get out the gate with something that has the gravity of this because we don't.
Oh yeah. They are like, I mean, even in addition to like, well, I don't know because I watched it with my friend Selena, and she isn't an X-Men person. She gets that a lot. No. Golding actually, so she's almost the whole way there. She knows the X-Men loosely and has like seen the movies, and she was like, if I were a kid, this would be my new main thing. Like this would be all I cared about for the rest of my life.
And it obviously it was a product of its time, but we did get moments similar, but not nearly as good as this in the original series, which is why we all love it so much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it had its great its time, but like it's
people
12-year-old me would have shat if he had seen.
If this had appeared in the 90s cartoon back then, you would have lost your mind.
Live action primetime TV in 1992 didn't try to do ongoing stories like Twin Peaks aside. It was all designed that you tune in any day of the week, any week of the year, and you know what's going on. But X-Men was like, let's make 5-part stories and air them out of order for some fucking reason.
And hopefully some future generation will figure it out.
Maybe one day Disney Plus will put them in the correct order.
Talk about playing the long game. They're like, someday this may pan out. We'll get another series from it 2 decades from now or 3 decades from now.
In a utopian future.
Jean had her baby, who they named Nathan.
Nathan Charles.
Yes, but then we see
Corsair.
We see the news reporting that Magneto was found innocent, or at least he's not going to be prosecuted for his previous crimes because of what he had done, and also,
he also threatened to drop them from near space.
They also say that the UN. So Val Cooper is a representative of the United Nations. That's why she is. Yes. So they'll say the UN is considering taking in or accepting Genosha as into the United Nations as its own country. So, there's some progress. Cyclops comes out and hands him a copy.
That's good, MZ.
Yeah.
Which, so Magneto, Cyclops goes out and offers Magneto a copy. He says poison, and then he says dark roast, which is a nice little moment.
Yeah.
And then...
See, Magneto should have known to begin with. The way you get Scott on your side is to father him a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just give him a little taste of that, what he never got growing up. And then he's, oh, I love you, Magneto.
We'll see. I mean, that happened in the comics too. They took off and
even with the reboot that's going on, come the summer, Scott is still on the team with Magneto.
Yeah,
that's like one of the things that is not changing.
Look, Scott, and they're leaning to it and towards it in a lot of the dialogue in these 2 episodes. Scott and Charles never really gelled as much as like.
Yeah, Scott's got a little Magneto in him that he's willing to, Exactly. I'm going to fuck up your mind with my. Omega-powered wife.
Yeah. He's like, I love that. You're right. I'm not Charles Xavier. He would try to reason with you.
Yeah.
I don't have the time.
Yeah. He's like, I shoot beams out of my face. I don't really do reasoning.
I saw someone else, like some little meme thing where they were like, oh, the female fans wanted wanted representation and wanted their own superhero. Marvel's like, here's Black Widow, and they're like, we took it, but now that we've got the X-Men,
the best Marvel female characters are X-Men characters,
or Sue Storm.
Well, I really hope, and this is a side note, but I really hope there's rumors that whole Fantastic Four movie is going to take place in the 60s. I really hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope it is a time travel thing. Yeah.
So anyway,
I hope that time travel is how they get their powers. Even.
No, that'd be interesting. You hope it does take place in the 60s?
I hope it does, or at least
I hope it doesn't.
Andre said it doesn't.
I hope it doesn't, but
you hope it doesn't.
No, because I want them to be mixing up with everybody else.
Well, they'll do that eventually.
They'll end up in the future. My hope is that they are from the 60s. The space race thing is a time travel race, and then they're lost to time. Then 2025 or whatever, they show up, and they've come into this thing with powers, and they're people out of time, which explains their hokiness. And Reed Richards get back in the kitchenness and whatever else happened.
They don't have to explain any of that.
But he can still chomp a pipe.
Characters.
Yeah, still chomp a pipe.
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
I do like that idea that Reed Richards is Hank Pym's one of his professors or something. That was
like or someone he knew contemporarily back when he was a superhero.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll see. So anyway, Cyclops says, Charles trusted you. I trust Charles. I guess that'll have to be enough. And then Magneto actually says, we've had a good day or a good week. He says, but be vigilant. Don't even on me. Don't get too comfortable because tragedy can it can hit. He said, there's cost for all this. So Beast finds out that
sometimes your wife's a clone.
Beast says that
sometimes she is.
Beast discovers that Storm's loss of her powers is permanent. Seemingly so.
look, I need to do a little more research before I can say. She's just shut up and don't tell me this.
She decides
when her ears start to ring, so that she tunes everything out. Just all she can think about is
that was great.
She has a really touching speech about how she has a family, but now that she's not one of them anymore, she has to find her own path. And
when she's looking at her costume and she jumps at the thunder, she didn't sense it coming, and now the source of her power is now a source of fear. She's
it's so good.
It's so good. It's so
I don't
good.
think the show can live up to episode 2 is my only worry, because that was fucking amazing.
Perfection. It is
really, really good.
But what if it does?
So
what if it even gets better than episode 2? What if it does?
It would be my favorite thing ever. My favorite thing ever if it did.
It already is my favorite thing ever.
So
it's up there.
Storm left a note for Jean explaining why she had to leave, which is everything we just said. And while that voiceover is happening of her reading the letter, we see all the X-Men dealing with their own issues because of what happened. We also see Rogue come to Magneto, and I'm guessing because of his ability, somehow he's able to touch her. Because
same with the comics,
same with the comics. He can he makes a tiny. You know how he has that force field?
Yeah,
he has a molecule thin force field, magnetic. So essentially, she is feeling the skin because it's the same supplement, but he's protected.
Yeah.
So that's how they're able to get it on.
Get on it, Gambit. Figure that shit out.
But while this is happening, you see Gambit see her go into his room, and he knows what's going on. So
all we know is that they held hands. They don't push it further than that.
I wholly think it goes further than that.
She's putting the glove back on when she's coming out of the room, but implies that unless she rewound and put her clothes back on in the same order.
Andre's already crafted the lurid fanfic.
No, it's not lurid fanfic. I think narratively, if you're writing a book or a story, it's way better if she has having a sexual relationship with Magneto, because he's the only one she can.
It
obviously.
Would be if Magneto wasn't 90.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
That's probably a retcon too. It's not World War II. Well, actually, it says 97. So and he was a child. Well, it's not World War II anymore. It wasn't World War II in this.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. But he's still pretty old. But either way, it's still within the realm of not my business. They can do it if they want to.
Yeah, exactly. So we see Wolverine pining in a tree.
Also great. Also great. Because Morph comes to comfort him with beer and snacks and throws the chips at him.
Then when that doesn't really work,
he
turns into Sabretooth, and Wolverine they start struggling.
Yeah, big play brawl, man.
Like they really depicted very well why they're really good buddies.
I don't know. I hope that is a relationship with Rogue. I'm just skimming through the episode and I saw her leaving. I
He's
saw her
the
putting her
sober
glove
yin
back on.
to Wolverine's raging yang.
Yeah. But like the humor to like all the angst and the rage and all that too.
Whoever thought of that morph Wolverine moment needs an award.
Yeah. So
you mean the guy they fired?
Who knows what he was responsible for?
So there's something hinky that's going to come out eventually because you don't close down all your socials and disappear off of that if something bad's not coming out.
The deluge of spilt tea will hit.
I'm assuming. Well, it's like anything. Usually, some creative type becomes really popular because it's something they just made. It's a big deal, and then some dark thing of their past comes out because now they're in the spotlight. So, we'll find out. I'm not saying that's what happened because I don't know. I'm not speculating, but.
The other way is like they get really big and they immediately start abusing their power and doing shitty things.
That's possible, but he didn't even wait until the thing came out. So if that's the case. So anyway, Jean reads in the letter. We see them all reacting to the fact that Storm's gone. Gambit lashes out at Magneto saying all these bad things happened since you came around. And obviously is another reason to dislike Magneto.
He only wrote the two greatest things I've ever.
No, he wrote the first 2 seasons, MZ.
So
seasons.
Well, there's a team of writers, but he was the showrunner.
He was the showrunner.
He was Joss Whedon.
Nothing problematic came out of him though. So Magneto last showed to Gambit last showed to Magneto saying all this bad stuff happened since you came around, basically, because he obviously is upset because Rogue slept with him, and then there's a ring at the doorbell, and they open Morph thinks that it's all temporary. He hears the doorbell. He thinks the Storm coming back. He opens the door, and it's Jean, who's all beat up, and says she needs the X-Men. Obviously, she's been through something, and cliffhanger. She collapses in his arms. Cyclops looks at the baby, looks back at Jean, who looks shocked, and boom.
The only weird thing is that she asks for the X-Men when she's
that was like for a second I was like, is this Madeline?
This could be Madeline, maybe
because of that
would
one
Jean
line.
Say I need the X-Men?
No,
just be like, help guys.
But if it's been a really long time, maybe like I don't know. It's that was the thing. Like I think they did it on purpose to make it confusing.
Very possibly.
But it's just so well written. Anyway, let's get into it, fellas.
Okay.
Each of us will have to look into his own heart and decide.
I think normally we do X points first, but we're doing X ratings first.
I feel like we talked about all the X points, but we should. But we can get through it.
But it's a 10 for me.
10,
it's an
10,
X for me. It's
10,
like beyond 10.
10. I'd give it an 11 if I could.
We're doing it. I'm giving it.
No,
myself.
you can't. We're not giving it 11. We have rules for a reason. We need to stick within the rigid structure we put in place.
I'm saying this is a new scale.
Hard 10.
A new scale.
Oh,
hard 10
10
means more. And it's
10 means more now.
It's to 20. It's 20. It goes to 20 now until we get
then I give it
X-Men,
a 20.
until we get X-Men 2000 20 years from now, and then we'll give that 20 to 25.
It's 30. It goes
but no, I mean, anything bad I could say about it would be a nitpick.
I agree. And it'd only be because you were trying to find something wrong with it. Like it's so good.
And would
out of like I've seen it
measure
like
up
4
anything
times
compared
now,
to the greatness?
Yeah.
How many?
I've seen episodes. Well, I've seen the episodes 1 and 2 4 times, and then I've seen the second half of episode 2 2 more times.
Oh, okay. I watched both episodes 5 times.
So like when Magneto's trial starts, I rewind to there and I watch it again.
It's so good. It's so fucking good. The show is so fucking good. I must say, it's fantastic.
Well, if we have any X points left, now's the time.
I feel like we talked about them all, but we figure something out.
I'll say I really feel Gambit with the times earlier in the episodes when he's like checking in with Rogue, like he's like, "Oh, this guy sucks, right?" And she's like,
Yeah.
I've been there. You got your girl, and this new guy shows up, and he's like fucking annoying as shit, and you're like, this guy, right? And she's like,
Yeah,
and that's the next guy in line. So
yeah,
I really like that.
we definitely
no,
used
they did a
most
great
of my
job.
X points, but it is interesting when like the Friends of Humanity storm the UN. It's very reminiscent of the, in the U.S. where they all storm the Capitol.
Yeah, you had to say January 6th at some point because it is pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
But I mean that more or less does happen in the comics. Only it's the Fenris twins, who are not.
Yeah.
Well, one point I had was I guess Kevin Feige had two conditions on bringing the show back. One was that the original voice cast return if possible, in the way they have, I guess. And the rights for the theme song had to be obtained. So they had to use the original X-Men theme song.
Well,
which is nice.
That helps. You can't do it without that.
No,
like,
God, no,
really
of course
can't.
not.
They could have. If they did something else and it was dope, I wouldn't care. But that, I don't know. Seeing that they updated
it's the
whole
continuity.
thing
It sets the
Yeah.
continuity between the two. The song.
Yep.
Get another
That's
X point
that's
for
one
us
point.
there, Dave.
No, I mean we really
we exhausted. Oh, we've said all
we
mine
picked
too.
the meat off this bird. I think.
Yeah, the
We
design
really
of the
have.
Executioner is fantastic. That was another one I had.
Yeah.
It's
Another
very
one I
90s,
had-
but it works really well with the show. They did a great job of mirroring it.
Yeah.
It worked.
And it's kind of intimidating. Like it's a good design. It's a cool design.
I love that Magneto decided. We're just setting up. I love that Magneto decided to, like, when he's become a hero, he put the old costume aside with the rigid metals and got this nice superhero-y looking thing, like this purple with the M and the purple and all that. Although purple is usually a villain color, it still kind of works.
It's royal too.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's like
true.
put the helmet down, creeper. Like you're just here fondling your helmet with your magnetic powers. Like it's kind of fucking weird.
Fondling his helmet. Lord.
Let me fondle that helmet for you.
Like she's like, I'm sort of on your side, but maybe stop fondling your helmet in front of the X-Men.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of making them nervous. But Beast Twaining made me happy. That was one of my points. I mentioned the scratches on Executioner's face. I think it'll lean back to Sabretooth. Is Professor X laissez-faire, like Magneto said, like leaving the Morlocks down there? Is Professor X a little too passive?
I used to hate the Morlocks because it made the X-Men seem like jerks. That they don't invite them into the mansion. Especially once the school, Grant Morrison takes over and they bring the Harry Potterness into it. That there's a million of them. Like, why are they still down there?
Like worse than the Morlocks. Like the mansion becomes uglier than the Morlocks.
But they bring the Morlocks to Krakoa.
Yeah, true.
They're all there.
That's true.
Oh, MZ, I will call you critical, MZ. He gives a 9 out of 10 for the first episode, 10 out of 10 for the second.
I can see it. And I'll also say that,
well, when you see the second one, you can be like, I can see why that one, like, if it's comparative, you're like, okay, well.
Yeah. I've heard people complain about the animation in that it looks weird to them. And if you're an old head and you're used to old animation, I do get that perspective. I do. Yeah. Even though, like, fight choreography and the expressions, the acting.
Yeah, it's all better.
You're not getting anything this good on Batman the Animated Series. You're not. I mean, there's something more like felt about hand-drawn animation. Like there's a little more humanity in it, which I do think is like missing from the look of this show, but it's missing from the look of every show since 2005. So, I mean, catch up, I guess. It's just the way things are.
And
it's
like,
did
you really expect them to remake 90s animation? Did you really think they were just going to hire people to draw things exactly like in?
Yeah, you wouldn't even want that, really.
You wouldn't want that. Everyone says they do, or like some people do, but no, they wouldn't. Because we just reviewed all that stuff, and there's some inconsistencies. There were some inconsistencies. Like they would throw Wolverine against a wall, and he would just
well, on the first,
three different sizes on his way towards that wall, and it was like,
no, there's some not so great animation. The animation in this is fantastic. They definitely went above and beyond.
Like when Storm's just walking in.
10 episodes isn't enough. I'll say that too.
No, it's not.
we're going to be left without really quickly, and I bet it's going to be longer than a year between seasons.
Oh, I hope not. Well, no, I don't think it will because they've already recorded it all. How long are they really going to sit on that? We'll see.
They sat on this for a long ass time.
They did. They recorded this like 2 or 3 years ago. But we'll see. I think 10 out of 10 animation for MZ. Yeah, the animation's great. Yeah. Well, let's move on from X points because we did burn most of them. But we got at least one more segment to go here.
Hey, check this out.
All right, this is our comic reminiscences and recommendations segment. I'm going to get mine out of the way because it's obvious.
That is
the Trial of Magneto. I've recommended it before on this show, but you know what? You have another reason to go read it now. It's not Fenris anymore. It's the Friends of Humanity. But you know what? That's better.
It is better.
Who gives a shit about Fenris? No one is the answer. But like, look, the same outfit with the chains and everything. Like, oh, it's so good. But you know what? There's a lot here. What's funny at the end of this, though, is like, this is just like in the show, he takes over as headmaster of the mansion, but he goes by Michael Xavier.
Yeah.
Which is funny because every fake person is called Michael in the Marvel universe, like Michael Murdoch, Matt Murdock's fake brother.
I forgot about that.
Never trust anyone named Michael.
That's really
in
funny.
the Marvel universe.
I totally forgot about that.
It's probably Mystique.
I'll be right back with mine.
Yeah, you on, right?
I've just recently started reading purely for nostalgia's sake because I got the Marvel app and the Marvel Unlimited app mostly because of Dave's recommendation. And I'm reading a lot of stuff on it, but I do have the printed copies as well.
It sounds like a bargain.
It's really worth it, man. I'm reading Spider-Man 2099, the original Peter David.
Oh wow!
And I'm really digging it. It's a lot of fun. It's really fun.
I wish I still had my first issue with that. I used to have that.
It's really fun just like reading a narrative comic that's a new comic with building its own world that's not beholden to all the stuff that came before it from the start. So it's really cool. It's really good.
But referential to something sort of.
Yes, there's enough to remind you of the way things were, but it's I don't know, it's a really fun book. Very well done.
All right. Dave, what do you got for us?
I got Uncanny X-Men 186.
Oh, Life Death.
198.
196. Oh, 198. Yeah. That was going to be my friggin' recommendations in 2 episodes, but
well,
fine.
You can repeat them, but
yeah, I'll repeat them.
You want to spoil stuff for yourself, maybe? Who knows what it'll take? But beautiful Barry Windsor Smith.
Barry Windsor Smith, one of my favorite artists of all time.
Yeah, probably the best colored comic you'll find from 1985.
Probably.
It's awesome.
Beautiful little story. And I wish I would have completed my Claremont run before this show. Because now I feel like all the back issues are going to be through the roof.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse when the MCU comes, because like every MCU book back issue is just ridiculous now.
Oh yeah. She's going to be,
buddy. That's the only ever, like, I've sold so many comics of runs I didn't think I'd ever complete. I was just like, I'm just going to purge all of them. And like, Uncanny was the one thing I was just like, no, I'm going to complete Claremont's Uncanny one day. But
I have huge gaps.
Yeah, I have huge gaps too.
But do you have a complete run of Micronauts like I do?
No,
because I'm not sick. No, I'm just kidding.
That was Michael Golden on the beginning of it.
No, that's good stuff. That's good.
Pretty book. I used to have a complete run of Dazzler.
Oh, Michael Golden's great, man. I have this great Man Thing cover on a She-Hulk.
Is it giant size?
Golden. It's amazing. No, I do have a giant size Man Thing.
Every time I think of Michael Golden, I think of Avengers.
I don't have any Man Thing comics.
10. The first appearance of Rogue.
All right.
And the panel where Captain America gets thrown through a window, there's like a huge shot that he does. Very like super ultra modern, like predicting like the 90s, that kind of big energy Jim Lee shit. Beautiful. I love Michael Golden.
Oh, Michael Golden's great.
Although now I'm wondering if he's even the real Golden.
Maybe
probably Magneto in a different hat.
He's probably his secret brother, Michael Golden.
Yeah, right. Well, what do you think, fellas? We're running a bit long in the tooth. You want to get out of
Oh
here?
yeah. It's the longest
All right.
podcast known to man, but
Deservedly.
Because,
well, it is 2 episodes. I remember the first
you're
one we did was
talking
2
about-
episodes as well, the first season, because we did the 2 Sentinel parts. So
I like that kind of mirror that was as well.
we're back, baby, back in the thick of it. I'm sad that we're not going to get to watch more X-Men movies and watch Davin really struggle with that. That would be a joy, but until that gets fit,
we'll get back
you'll
to
be back to it like way sooner than you'll want.
In 9 weeks from now, we'll be back to those horrible movies.
8. I mean 7, because we're up 3 episodes as of
Tomorrow.
3
Tomorrow.
a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, but we won't be
tomorrow.
talking about that for 7 days. So we're like
True.
6 days.
Well, it's still 8
behind
days.
the
You got 8 days, 8 weeks. I mean, to live it up in these salad days of X-Men fandom.
Halcyon days of X-Men fandom. We got
exactly.
For now,
But, we're a member of the United Federation of Podcasts. Check all the shows out, such as, you know what, Andre? What's going on over there?
well, I've turned the Graphic Histories podcast into an alt-right podcast in which I talk about why
Friends of Humanity podcast.
immigrants suck, and why everyone.
First episode's about mutant whining.
It's
wow.
It's mostly just me screaming about how I dislike Trudeau for. No, I'm just kidding.
May I hand in my resignation as producer of the show?
No, I'm joking. No, new episode just dropped yesterday with Chuck Patton.
It's great.
former
My new
artist from
favorite
Marvel
episode.
Comics. Oh, really? Yeah, he's a really fun guy.
Yeah,
Well,
man,
when he explained why Thor was like the champion of the hood is when I realized. I was like,
great.
It was really fun. He's a really cool guy. He won an Emmy for this work on the HBO Spawn cartoon. So really cool guy, great conversation.
Yeah.
Next episode after that is with
Dietrich
O. Smith, who did a lot of work for Marvel DC as well. Most notably the next comic from the New 52 run of stuff. And a bunch of really cool comics. Then after him is Gary K. Wolfe, author of the Who Framed Roger Rabbit book that the movie is based on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a big get.
Oh man, I was super. He's a really cool guy too. And I in prep to talk to him, I read the original novel, Who Censored Roger Rabbit, and it's really, really good. It's a
I've
great
read the Wikipedia page.
You should read the book. It's very good.
My attention span is only about as long as a Wikipedia page.
Oh, well,
I like audiobooks.
Yeah.
I was on an audiobook.
But it's super good. It's a great chat. He's a super cool guy, and and then after him there's wait, it's coming to me, Mike. Shoot, the episodes are all in another thing. Stephen Grant's after him, Marvel writer for many, many years. He also ghost written some Hardy Boys books, which we have a fun conversation about. Those ones in the 90s, remember where they started like busting up, like they had guns and they started like getting more violent and stuff? Yeah.
No, I only ever read the old like 50s.
Me too. The old Gee Golly Gosh Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Smugglers of Pirates Cove.
Holy shit.
Pirates.
But Stephen Grant most notably wrote a bunch of like the Punisher way back when he got his own miniseries and did his own thing. But no, great chat with him. He also did the Two Guns comic that was made to the movie with Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington. And then after him we have Becca Kinsey from So Who Knows Dave, and was
We've
shocked.
never really spoken,
but she knows of you.
We've stood in the same circle of talking humans.
She seemed visibly shocked when I mentioned offhandedly that you and I used to live together. So
that's crazy.
So, yeah, it's funny.
I'm so like I so like hate myself that I expect that like everybody in the Toronto comics community either does not know who I am or hates me to the, like my very core. Not everybody, because I do have some very good friends, but anybody who's like a satellite figure.
Why would they hate you?
No, they all love you, Dave, and they all know you, and they all love you, and we won't hear any of
I'm an oaf and a fraud.
Oh,
and either I like take over every conversation, or I just like fade into the background and don't say anything like a fucking freak.
Well, actually, it may help you.
That's like me, man.
It may make you feel better to know we have a really fun, good part of the conversation is about how supportive and lovely the Toronto comic scene is, and how they all support each other, hold each other up. That's what she says. So, and you came up and she didn't say except Dave. No,
I'm close with, but then I don't know.
No,
I assume anybody that I don't know hates me. It's just
you just got imposter syndrome like everybody else does.
But like I didn't think that she ever would even like realize that, like remember my name or know the face. I didn't think
really.
Whatever.
No,
well, look, Dave, and I hated you until we met, so like you're not entirely wrong.
True.
I hated you even. No, I'm just kidding.
And tomorrow night we're doing a hold up. We're talking about sports movies and also talking about Super Mater Brothers, our many various Star Trek content, trivial debates, aiming on track, the Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn and Michael Chan, and the newest member of our Federation of Podcasts. Hey, did you see this one? Who I believe did an episode. I haven't either. No, just kidding. They've been reviewing a lot of horror movies, and I have seen those. So, yeah.
And I just want you guys to know there's some shocking information I just discovered because a link just came up. A trailer has been released for the remake of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. So you can go check that out. There's a remake coming. It's coming back for the 90s, baby. It's back. Everything from the 90s is back now. X-Men has opened the floodgates. It's like when Superman died. Everybody's come back from the dead now, including Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
We are living in the glory times.
Health beyond days.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I'm grateful to have the chance to say goodbye. I am proud of you all.
I'm proud of you all, X-Goons. Catch you next time.
Next time.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.